Netanyahu spoke to Congress. Young explained why he feels that way.
We've seen President Biden be too slow again and say too little in the condemnation of anti-Israel and anti-Semitic mobs on our college campuses.
And he says Harris has also approved of these mobs' behavior. Young believes it was a bad move for her to be in Indianapolis instead of D.C. for Netanyahu's speech. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Speed cameras now operational along a stretch under construction along I-70 near Greenfield. The cameras are part of a pilot program to cut down on speeding in construction zones. Indianapolis wants Major League Soccer, but right now Major League Soccer is still figuring out if they want Indianapolis.
There isn't a specific plan to expand, but I know many of you might have seen the mayor of Indianapolis that was here over the last couple of days.
That's MLS Commissioner Don Garber, who met with Mayor Joe Hogsett this week at the MLS All-Star Game in Columbus, Ohio. The first practice of Indianapolis Colts training camp getting underway later this hour. It's the first of many as the Colts prepare for their first preseason game against Denver, August 11th. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Southside, westbound 465, still stop-and-go traffic. Bluff Road over to Man Road because of an earlier crash. And northbound 65 coming up from the south side. Zoo right now from 465 up to the south split, 25 minutes on the travel time. Eastbound 70, stop-and-go from Harding Street into the south split. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Mom, it's school shopping time.
On it. Ooh, Target has select supplies like crayons and glue sticks for 25 cents, plus markers for 50 cents.
Next, my new Rockstar vibe means new clothes.
Ooh, totally. These graphic tees are $6 and made to last.
And a strawberry lunch bag to match my sweet personality.
Got it, and it's only $5. Let's get your favorite Good and Gather snacks. They're now at a new lower price.
Best team ever.
When it comes to low prices, Target has your back to school.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
The forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Watch out for some areas of fog this morning. Otherwise, sunshine this afternoon and comfortable. A high of 82. Mostly clear and comfortably cool overnight. A low down to 62. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
Partly cloudy, 72 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, July 25th. It's 6 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Okay, so I'm sure you have something of utmost importance to get to. Biden slurring, lying.
Yeah.
By the way, do we think the Biden speech was live last night?
I'm not sure. There was a lot of debate on the internets about whether it was, because apparently his watch was saying that it was 6:08.
Well, and it looked, the outside, I think Tony Kennett posted this, and he's not Mr. Conspiracy Man. The lighting outside behind him did not match the actual lighting in Washington, D.C. at the time he gave the speech.
Well, you could also see the teleprompter in the reflection in the window.
That was the most hilarious part. You could see the teleprompter in the window. They've just given up in the Biden administration. Like, these people are just, it's senioritis at this point because that is such a rookie mistake.
They're like, it's senior skip day. Let's just get this done and move on.
Okay, so before we get to all the Biden stuff, I have a very important question to ask you, and I love that Kevin was already plotting this question before I presented it to the group.
Yeah.
Which is, there was a box left in the kitchen of very high-end pizza. Now, these people, I don't know if they spend money with us or not. I'm not going to name them. If they do, then I'll find that out and we'll name them. But it is high-end. It's not like we're talking about, low-end pizza here. This is expensive
all the
stuff.
Toppings.
Yeah, it looks like it's deep dish too,
Yeah, it's very good pizza. However, a reasonable person would conclude, based on sight and temperature of the pizza, it was left out overnight.
Yeah.
So my question to you as a mother, you know this better than anyone.
Yeah.
How long can pizza be left out where it is still okay to consume?
You have one night.
So we're in the
You're
window.
in the window. If you don't eat it today and it's still there tomorrow, I don't think you should go for it.
Yeah, because I didn't.
Right now, I did go to town.
Cold pizza is like great for breakfast.
Yeah,
too.
This is room temperature pizza.
Yeah, we're not talking about. Was for some reason a lazy person did not establish that pizza back in the fridge.
Yeah.
So
I think you're good. One more day.
Now Kevin is on some kick where he's worried about his figure, and it was like, you weigh like 3 pounds.
Yeah, I walked in today, and that was the first thing I noticed was that box of pizza, and I kind of thought about it for a little bit, but I actually brought a bag of cashews and pistachios.
Well, Kevin's working out. He's bulking up, and we discussed he needs to eat that protein to bulk up.
So you think it's okay to consume that pizza?
I think you're good.
Huh.
Yeah,
All right.
you'll be okay. I mean, if you think back at college, how many times did you do that and you survived?
Well, yeah, but I'm also, when we've been through this, I just laid out to our audience the other day how I'm falling apart physically, and I've got to, like, make some lifestyle changes. However, you're saying you think, I mean, it appears to be well-crafted.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want it to go to waste. You've got one more day. You have to get to it by COB today.
Okay, very
no,
good.
it has veggies on it. Are the veggies
Does it
okay?
really? Yeah.
I think there's banana peppers
Oh,
on it.
then I'm out.
Oh,
I didn't pay that.
it's the toppings
I didn't
that's
pay
going to
that
stop
close
you.
attention. I didn't pay that
Not
close
the
attention
fact
to
that
it.
it hasn't been preserved properly.
Kev, let's go look at this during the break. We'll
Yeah,
go
we can
see. We can
inspect
examine
it.
it together. All right. Speaking of pieces of pizza, a piece of pizza would have given a better speech than Biden did last
Something
night.
that has maybe not been preserved properly as well.
I feel horrible. He's so irrelevant to me now that I totally had even forgotten he was going to do that. And then you had texted me and a couple other people. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go back and watch this.
Yeah.
He was slurring, right?
Yeah,
he was definitely slurring.
Did it seem like there was a bruise on his chin? to
Well,
you?
that's my point is, and you're like, how would you know? He was slurring more than he normally does. Like there were words it was not the stuttering, stumbling. He did that, but there was also slurring. And I am of the opinion based on, because like I feel like Tony Kennett is not a flat earther. He's not a we didn't land on the moon person. He's obviously a Mensa level IQ individual.
Yeah.
And for him to put out the thing about the night, the background, which I'd kind of thought that as well, but I thought, well, am I just being, a
like, are you
conspiracy
suggesting
person?
maybe it was pre-recorded?
Yeah, I do. I do think that it was pre-recorded, because could they actually risk Joe Biden? Could they actually risk Joe Biden giving a speech for whatever that was, 3 to 5 minutes on his own? Now, it was nonsensical garbage. I mean, what did we get out of that speech? You have no idea why he quit. We still have no idea why he pulled the plug on the parade. Yeah, I guess it was a train wreck of a parade. On the campaign, other than he wanted to pass the torch to the next generation, which he clearly did not, based on the fact into Friday and Saturday, he was saying, I'm still running for president.
Yeah.
We still have no idea why he actually quit.
Yeah, it was very much a campaign-style speech and a stump for Kamala Harris as well, because he was promoting her.
Yeah, it kind of was seemed like a Hatch Act thing, right? Where you're not supposed to campaign on government time and resources. That seemed more like a campaign speech than it did here is the president addressing the nation speech. Was it 12 minutes?
He was touting all of his accomplishments and how great he did, and then said, that's why I decided to quit.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So he goes
I did so good.
Yeah, the country is so much better, and I did so great. And then he was mumbling about something about reducing prices for people, and I was like, what? Again, what planet are you living on, sir? What world is this happening for you in? Because the prices have not been reduced at all since you've been in office.
Well, and he still was listing all the things that he wanted to accomplish. Of course, he brought up that he wanted to finish off his cancer moonshot, and he was still wanted to secure the border.
Yeah, remember,
get to it, dude.
He was going to cure cancer. Don in the YouTube chat, which, by the way, you can watch us on YouTube, says that speech was 12 minutes, 8:02 to 8:14. I mean, I was like half paying attention after the first 3 minutes or so, and I thought, okay, here we go. This is just going to be a complete waste of my time. I thought part of me was like, maybe he's going to admit I had, a stroke or something that is prohibiting me from going forward. But no, I mean, that was a waste of your time if you watched that, because you got nothing other than the typical lying garbage bull crap that you get from him. You learn nothing new other than he's slurring his words now more than usual.
Yeah, he thanked our great Vice President, Kamala Harris, said she was experienced, she was tough, she's capable, she's been a great partner to him and a great leader for our country. And then this is the line that really struck me, and it was towards the end of his speech where he's talking about here in the United States, we don't have kings or dictators.
The great thing about America is here, kings and dictators do not rule. The people do. History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. You just have to keep faith, keep the faith. And remember who we are. Yeah. We're the United States of America. And there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
Okay. Yeah, but wait a second. Literally what they just did was kings and dictators.
That's it exactly. We don't have kings. We don't have dictators. It's up to the people. Oh, except for when the DNC party bosses are going to vote instead of the American people.
The willingness of these people to look you in the – I mean, it really is an indictment of Americans, though, more so than the politicians. These people are greaseballs and dirtbags. We know that. But they lie to you. They look you in the eye and lie to you because they believe they can get away with it. They have so little respect for you that they believe they can just feed you this garbage and nonsense. And because we have a track record in this country of not doing anything about it, that he'll just say whatever and you'll just take it and like it.
Okay, so just in case you missed this, I wanted to play some back-to-back audio for you. The first one is from July 12th.
Yeah.
The second one is from July 24th.
What's Joe Biden going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? Here's my answer. I am running, and we're going to win.
Okay.
I'm not going to change that. You know, in recent weeks, it's become clear to me that I need to unite my party in this critical endeavor. So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
So in 12 days,
yes,
he went from I am running to I have to pass the torch.
And listen to the tone. Now, granted, Biden is never Mr. Sharp Man, but listen to how much different he sounded. Somebody needed to ask Joe Biden to blink twice if he's all right. I mean, that sounds like a hostage speech, didn't it? It sounds like those speeches that old Jihadi John used to make the Americans they would capture give, in some grainy, back room somewhere. That does not sound like a guy who, one, is in control of himself, or two, really wanted to give that speech.
So before we go to break, I wanted to play one more clip for you. This happened earlier in the day, so you may have missed it, and I just think it tickled me. It's kind of funny. Karine Jean-Pierre having a press conference, and this is an exchange between her and Peter Doocy.
Doing okay, thank you.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Well, you guys haven't had a press briefing since President Biden dropped out of the race. So
the president hasn't been.
I haven't seen you. Where have you been? Well, hello. Where have you been?
These people are shameless. What are we doing next?
We're going to talk about how the Israeli prime minister was visiting, and there was some disruption in Washington, D.C. It's on the way from 93 WIBC.
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
To hear the president tell it, he was fine with running for re-election and served for 4 more years until sometime between Saturday night and Sunday morning when it dawned on him, apparently, that it was time for a new generation of leaders.
History happens here.
History in the making tonight.
On your 2024 election information station.
We have a long way to November.
93 WIBC.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts this weekend. For 3 days only, this Friday through Sunday, get 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com. 3 days only and Sunday.
Uline is here for the hard workers, for the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
Ugh, I've been feeling so sluggish. I'm just kind of blah.
Been there. That's why I take Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites.
But I suppose they taste blah.
Actually, they taste delicious. It's an apple blueberry flavored center covered in a yogurt coating and is infused with probiotics to help support a healthy gut. They come 5 in a pouch. I just toss one in my bag and go.
Toss one in my bag?
Get your own.
New Align yogurt-coated probiotic fruit bites from the makers of the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Find them in the digestive care aisle.
Pain from arthritis is just awful. That bone-on-bone pain is constant, and it robs you of so much of the stuff you love to do, but there are effective ways to deal with that pain. Tony Katz here. There are exciting new therapies that can get you lasting relief, and the place to go is QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can use advanced regenerative medicine to treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. Talk to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Get your free consultation right now. QC Kinetics in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and in Carmel. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, Carmel, QC Kinetics. 317-559-PAIN.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Buying a diamond has changed. There are mined and lab-grown diamonds. Pierce Jewelers carries both. Pierce can educate you and save your hard-earned money. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was in D.C. yesterday, and he was making remarks at a meeting in front of Congress, and he was trying to shore up support for Israel in their 10-month-long war against Hamas, and lots of people did not attend it. Nancy Pelosi was saying that he gave the worst speech to Congress from any foreign leader because, it wasn't Zelensky with the blue and yellow flag?
Well, here's what we learned yesterday. That the base of the Democrat Party, and now you are seeing it trickle into the political base in terms of the elected political base of the Democrat Party, is pro-Hamas. Mm-hmm. They are pro-terrorist, and they hate Israel. The zero debate, discussion, nothing. When you factor in the speech, who didn't attend, who didn't even greet the Prime Minister of Israel, the Democrat politicians who did attend, who then treated Israel as the bad guy, and then all the bull crap that was happening outside, and it was like 2020 all over again out there, and those Democrat politicians did absolutely nothing to stop those pro-Hamas maniacs in the streets defacing monuments and the Freedom Bell.
Yep.
And so you now, if you are a voter, and this matters to you at all, the Democrat Party is not only anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, they are Team Hamas at this point.
And keep in mind, this is our #1 ally in that region. I was so upset when I was getting the template for the show ready today, and I was seeing all of that video of them just destroying our country with that spray paint and everything. It made me so angry. And then when they were taking the American flag down and raising the Palestinian flag, that's the one where I honestly, I had to stop. I just okay, I got to put this away for a while.
Well, it's 2020 all over again, except instead of Black Lives Matter this time, it is these college campus, mostly college campus radicals who are clearly being orchestrated and led. They're not capable of doing this on their own, just like in 2020. And it came out that there were these groups that were funding BLM and these Antifa and these other people that were getting them to these cities with instructions on what to do. It's happening all over again. The Democrat Party, and nobody is more critical of the Republicans than me, but this case, we're talking about the Democrat Party is the party of insanity. It is run by complete crazy people who hate this country, who believe America is evil, who believe Israel is evil. They believe the Israelis are the bad guys in the equation, and they are now the terrorist sympathizer party based on the fact that you don't see hardly any Democrats coming out and condemning what happened yesterday. Take out of the equation the fact that they were hostile to Netanyahu coming over here to speak. You don't see, where's Kamala Harris? She's the leader of the Democrat Party now. Where's Joe Biden? We're told he's supposedly still the president of the United States. Where are these people condemning what happened yesterday in Washington, D.C.?
And how many of those people are going to be arrested?
No, well, those that'll be arrested will be back out on the street in no time. And so the Democrats now, look, if you're a voter and this matters to you and you vote for the Democrats, you are voting to embolden terrorists. And Hamas is an arm of Iran. And, do we have some of the Netanyahu audio?
We do.
Do we have the part where he's talking about
he's talking directly to the protesters holding
yeah,
up the signs?
Do we have that? Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%. He's right. These people are idiots. These people have no. What a condemnation of the public education system that you have gay people cheerleading for Hamas who they would chop those people's heads off or throw them off the tallest building they could find in a heartbeat. But these people are so misguided and stupid. And the only way you get this misguided and this stupid is if it's been indoctrinated into you that they are cheerleading for a group of lunatics who would kill them in an instant and not think a thing about it.
Well, and then it looked like at one point that those people were being bussed in from someplace
Totally.
else.
Totally.
So, they're being bussed in. They're being funded by somebody. And Netanyahu had even stronger words for the protesters.
For all we know, Iran is funding the anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building. Not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
Yeah, and again, let's talk about what's happening here. Israel was attacked. They didn't start this. They didn't ask for this. They were attacked by a bunch of terrorists. Well, over 1,000 of their citizens, women, children, babies included, were savagely murdered. The women were raped. Many of them are still being held hostage. This was started by a terrorist group who is essentially a satellite organization, essentially a group who does the bidding and is funded by Iranian maniacs, and somehow Israel is the bad guy in this equation with these people.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. Coming up next, Jim Merritt is going to join us.
Yeah, we got a big day tomorrow, man. That is going to be, we are going to be the place to be. 9:15 tomorrow. Mike Braun is going to be here, and he's going to be here for 30 straight minutes, and we are going to clear the decks and have a rip-roaring good time. And I thought, who better to ask what we should be talking with Braun about than a guy who spent 30 years in the Indiana Senate? Nobody knows the lay of the political landscape in the state like Jim Merritt. We'll ask him next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Granger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Fox, CNN, other news sources are reporting home prices are expected to decline into 2025, even after the election. Maximize your home sales price now before this downturn with the agent proven to sell for top dollar, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Sarah in Fountain Square had to say about working with Mark Dietel. After investing in a property in Fountain Square, I ran into some financial trouble and needed to sell the place fast. After hearing about Mark Dietel from friends, I hired him. Mark was able to sell my property within weeks for over list price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Absolute Comfort. Chris Wedekin is the owner, and he says working for a glass house builder has made them experts at heating and cooling.
When the sun comes up on one side and sets on the other, the demand is much larger on one side at one part of the day and much larger on the other side at one part of the day. So with zoning, we can solve your issues.
Make your home absolutely comfortable by going to AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
On to the next, he says. Radar is clear, partly cloudy, and 73 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. President Biden says now is the time for fresh and younger voices.
I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
Biden gave a televised address Wednesday and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the Democratic nominee. He also outlined his administration's accomplishments and vowed to focus on his role as commander-in-chief over the next 6 months. A solid month so far for the economy. Fox's Jenny Casola.
The gross domestic product for the second quarter easily topped expectations of a 2% increase. The GDP expanded at a 2.8% pace in the spring. Consumer spending was up 2.3%, improving from the previous quarter. The core inflation reading in the quarter, excluding food and energy, moderated to 2.9%, down from 3.7% in the first quarter. Jenny Cosola, Fox News.
Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. We are mixed to start the day. The Dow is down 18 to 40,092. The NASDAQ is up 37 to 19,240. And the S&P 500 is up 1.5 to 5,473. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
It's hot out there, and if you're tired of paying high utility bills every month because your home AC keeps running, it's because your windows aren't energy efficient. If yours are builder grade and over 8 years old, the seals are likely broken and air is leaking out, and you're paying the price in high utility bills all year long. Window Nation's high-quality windows are built to last a lifetime. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free. There's no limit on how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with 0 down and no interest or payments for 24 months.
And Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty and can be installed in 1 day or less. They were even recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies in America. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
After Appomattox, it was on the losing side, so no amnesty was granted.
Well, tomorrow is a big day for the radio show, and let's have an expert tell us what he thinks we should ask. It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC. Look who it is.
Good morning, Robert.
Oh, my goodness. He is one of the, well, you were before you started hanging out with me. Once upon a time, one of the most respected members of all of Indiana politics and government, 30 years in the Indiana Senate, the great Jim Merritt. Hello.
Happy Thursday, everybody.
All right, so tomorrow is indeed a big day for the radio show. Casey and I, 9:15 tomorrow. Mike Braun is going to be in here, and we've got 30 minutes with him, and it's basically going to be 30 uninterrupted minutes. And I thought, well, who better to kind of paint the picture of what we should be asking, what you think is relevant, than the great Jim Merritt? And obviously, I think you got to start with property taxes, right?
Yeah, what an opportunity you have. What an opportunity Senator Braun has. And he's got to turn the page from being a U.S. Senator to being a governor candidate. And he has done that for the last year or so. But it's a great opportunity for the senator to talk about all the issues of the day. There are a lot of issues that are going on with state government. We've had a governor for the last 8 years, so everybody is turning the page in the governor's office in the State House, and it's a chance for the senator to talk about property taxes, talk about what's going on in FSSA, talk about what's going on in Department of Correction, how he's going to be different, how is he going to be similar to Governor Eric Holcomb, and kind of lay out his vision for the next 4 years, should he be elected governor in November.
Because let's face it, people, in terms of specifics, people have no idea what he's going to do on just about anything.
Well, I think that's exactly right. I think that the governor campaign was somewhat of a blur, whereas some of the candidates made their way in different ways on eliminating this tax or it just the attention span of the voter is so short that this is a great opportunity for you to know and for everybody to know listening to WIBC what he's actually going to do in office.
You know, it's interesting to me because I'm like a free agent here. Remember in Caddyshack where Rodney Dangerfield, they're playing that match at the end. It's Rodney Dangerfield and Chevy Chase against the judge and the doctor, and Bill Murray's brother runs the actual Caddyshack.
Yeah.
And before the match starts, Rodney Dangerfield hands him like a $1 bill or something and goes, "Hey, keep it fair. And he goes, "Oh, I can't do that," and still takes the money. I feel like without the money, that's me. It's like, keep it fair. I am totally winnable here in this because I obviously have great affinity for Donald Rainwater. I think what he did in 2020 was very important.
And we had him in last week.
Yeah, and he's great. Rainwater's great.
He'll be back.
And we'll be back Monday, 10:06. But I also, clearly, on Braun's side, have great love and respect for Micah. So while I've been very critical of Braun, I am totally winnable tomorrow. I'm totally a person who can absolutely... bygones be bygones. You come in here and you knock my socks off. I am with you, brother.
Well, your audience is really waiting with bated breath. I think that everybody is really anticipating meat on the bones.
Yeah.
And that's really what this will give Senator Braun and his campaign the opportunity really to kind of lay out what's going to happen in the next 100 days.
Yeah.
And in the following 4 years, because everybody knows that Indiana is probably a 55-45 state when it comes to Republican, Democrat, and there's a rock-solid base of 40% of Democrats in this state. And if you're a Democrat, all you have to do is get 11% or less because of the Libertarian might be a strong candidate this year. So it's you're starting to arrive to the point where you're putting things in ink.
Yeah.
Where people know exactly where you're coming from. And I know you're a great interview. You're not going to have a situation where you're shooting from the cheap seats where you have taken a cheap shot at him.
You don't have to.
No, you're going to be professional, and you're going to get some answers that you haven't had before.
So that's tomorrow, 9:15. Braun will be here.
I'll be listening.
Yeah, I think that'll be the most listened to thing in all of Indiana politics and government all year. Because let's face it, if Braun comes in with a coherent, concise, easy to understand agenda on the big stuff, and look, we got 30 minutes. We are not gonna, Mickey Mouse around with nuanced, insider baseball stuff. He knows what he's going to get. He knows the questions he's going to get. And if he comes in with big plans on those, look, if he comes in with that thing where he's tying property tax increases to inflation, that is going to go over like a fart in church, and our audience is going to rip him apart. The fact that he's coming in here tells me he's got to have something better than that.
Well, also, it's not only our audience that he's going to be speaking to, he's going to be speaking to the legislature.
Yeah,
his partners next year.
Yeah.
And it's a budget year. It's a long session. You saw, many people saw the large amount of cash that the state has on hand right now. The economy is doing pretty well in the state of Indiana, and there's going to be a lot of hands out. But there's going to be a demand. There is a demand for reform in state government.
Yeah, and this argument, and this is where Braun's got to lead, and this is why people say, well, the legislature passes the laws. The governor, and you know this better than anybody, right? If the governor is willing to boldly lead, the legislature, especially if it's of the same party, will generally go along. And like when I see that, in Casey, I'm going to get into this more later in the show, Brownsburg now, this is where I live, but this sort of crap's happening all over the place. If these public schools cry foul on any time, oh my gosh, if 80-year-old Edna doesn't have to pay property tax anymore or can comfortably afford to live in her home, well, you might be in a one-room schoolhouse. Yet Brownsburg now has a superintendent, an associate superintendent, and an assistant superintendent. On salaries alone, you're almost, at $500,000, and benefits, you're blowing past it on something that has nothing to do with the classroom. That associate superintendent that they just, promoted has nothing to do with helping the classroom. That was a gimme position because she thought she was going to be the superintendent, and then because of politics, she didn't get it, and everybody knows that. And so it's complete crap, that these lawmakers are like, well, we'd like to help you with property taxes, but what about the children? Right. The children will be just fine if 80-year-olds can afford to stay in their homes.
Well, it goes back to back in 2008 and 2009 where we did the constitutional amendment with the 1, 2, 3, but we really didn't talk about the referendum part, and we didn't really rein in any. It's kind of Katie bar the door when it comes to referendums, and you see brand new schools, you see spending that you really didn't expect because you put your trust in local schools and local government is a three-legged stool, and the idea is that you hope that schools will be conservative in their spending and put most of the money into the classroom, but the tax caps have been gotten around, if you will.
Jim Merritt, our guest, 30 years in the Indiana Senate. Okay, you're doing something else. You are joining is it out yet? Is it out yet, or is it upcoming? You taped it. The very fabulous Supporting Sobriety podcast.
It's out Wednesday. Yesterday.
So it's out.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And Ryan Hedrick, our own Ryan Hedrick, and our
Hedrick. Yes, that's correct.
Excuse me, Hedrick. And as well as Matt Baer have this podcast called Supporting Sobriety. And it's a terrific show. I encourage everybody to listen to it. They talk about those that have suffered from addiction, from alcohol, and all of the different illegal substances, if you will. And it was really enjoyable being on this show to talk to them about the Lifeline Law, to talk to them about my work in opioids, and the idea that counseling is something that everybody ought to think about when they're in these situations. And I really enjoyed taping this on Saturday, and they're really talking to America, and it's something that everybody ought to pay attention to, because people that have addiction aren't doing this on purpose.
Right.
And this society, if you make a mistake in society, you're going to pay for it over and over and over. And we need to reach out. Early on in my career, I always thought that just locking everybody up was the key. And it's really habilitation, it's recovery, and helping people get up off the floor so that everybody in our society is safe.
Yeah, I love that you were on with those guys. That's a great podcast. We've had Matt, we've had Ryan on. It's incredibly, like a lot of times these public affairs type podcasts, let's face it, they're not the most entertaining things in the world.
No.
Those guys are great.
Yeah.
They're very entertaining.
Hits you right in the soul.
Yeah, it does. And I'm so glad you're on there. So now you're telling me it is out. Supporting Sobriety is the name of the podcast. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. Do us a favor, wait until noon. We don't care what you do during Tony Katz, but at least wait until noon before you go there and listen. And I'm super excited to hear that because you have dedicated so much of it, especially the past decade. In fact, that's how we met.
Yes.
You and I, in this ill-fated, trip around the sun that we've been involved in together.
Friendship.
Yeah. I first interviewed you when I had my community show out in Hendricks County. On WIRZ, and I interviewed you about that and promoting that. And I just...
Well, we talk on this program, we talk about the needle exchange and how talking Governor Pence at the time, the idea that Scott County, Austin in particular, specifically, had incredible needle problems and syringe problems. And everybody needs to know that it's against the law to transport a needle in the state of Indiana, and I had a bill that said if you get stopped by a police officer and you have a syringe with you, that you say to that individual, "I've got this. I don't want to get you. I don't want to hurt you." And so we were able to have a needle exchange in Scott County and other areas around the state, and that may sound enabling, but it actually is saving lives because you can talk to people who you might be able to talk them into recovery. Who need to exchange their needle because these things can kill you.
All right, find him on Twitter at Jim_Merritt. Also, the very, very fabulous Merritt in the Morning podcast, which you can find on YouTube and Facebook. Hey, man, you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Are you within 5 years of filing for Social Security? 5 years. Well, get this, 96% of Americans, 96%, they forfeit an average of $111,000 in Social Security income. And it's because they file for their benefits at the wrong time.
Casey, learn how you could avoid this with a free customized Social Security analysis. It's from Bill Demery, your retirement guy right here in Indy. If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free FREE analysis now. See, I spell it so you'll know I'm being very emphatic about it. By calling 317-932-9912.
For some people, filing for Social Security early could result in more net income in retirement. This free analysis pinpoints exactly how you could get the most from Social Security. That number, 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnecast, we have no president of the United States. As Biden spent last night's address talking about winter apparel and pointing at curtains, Americans were abandoned. We'll talk about it. Tune in at 7 p.m. right here or the podcast anytime.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
According to a 2023 Gallup poll, 71% of non-retired adults are worried about retirement saving. At Howard Bailey Financial, we don't believe retiring with confidence should be guesswork. In fact, our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we provide our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you won't outlive. To receive your complimentary toolkit, text CLARITY to 866-482-9559. Take a step toward a more confident retirement with Howard Bailey Financial and text CLARITY to 866-482-9559.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TS1.
Hey, this is Pastor Micah Beckwith.
And I'm Pastor Nathan Peternell.
And we serve at Life Church, and we got a podcast that we wanted to tell you about called Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
Yeah, you know all those things that the culture doesn't want to talk about that will scare you? Yeah, that's our bread and butter. We love it.
We're going to equip you on how to defend conservative constitutional values based in God's Word in this podcast. So tune in to Jesus, Sex, and Politics.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
History is being rewritten right before your eyes. Many news outlets are now changing the narrative, saying that Kamala Harris was never actually the border czar after years of calling her that.
Well, look, the media is now in full campaign mode for Kamala Harris. They recognized Joe Biden was simply indefensible, and Kamala Harris will not talk to dead people, shake hands with the air. She can walk off stage, and so that's really the standard for the mainstream national media to defend you or cheerlead for you or whatever, and they're going to absolutely excoriate any person who comes at her. They're going to destroy any person who points out obvious things about her, like she is a pathological liar, like she is caught all the time not telling the truth, like she has been a colossal failure in basically everything she's ever touched in Washington. What is the signature Kamala Harris accomplishment? I'll wait. I'm not asking to be facetious. Like, what is the signature thing that you would say this qualifies Kamala Harris? She keeps getting promoted to things based on things like race and sex, but like actual accomplishments, what is it?
Well, she didn't accomplish anything as the border czar.
Well, let's go back to the beginning. She was a prosecutor. What she accomplishes that? Nothing. Everybody says how she went out of her way to treat people like garbage, about how her policies didn't work, about the people she crammed into jails, about what Kennedy described the people that she left incarcerated as, indentured servants or slaves. She was a train wreck there. What did she do as a United States Senator? What's the signature thing that you'd say, wow, thank goodness Kamala was there because A, B, or C got done? You can't name it. What has she done as vice president? Let's get to your point. The thing she was in charge of was a disaster. It is one of the leading reasons people are wanting to vote for Donald Trump this time. So what has she done that would qualify her to be president of the United States? The answer is nothing. But the media doesn't care about that. The Democrats certainly don't care about that. And now it is full-on assault with the Democrats working in coordination with the mainstream national media to get this woman across the finish line.
Yeah, so they keep saying that Biden put, it's not true that he put her in charge of the border, and that's a made-up narrative. However, on March 24th of 2021, she tweeted out from the Vice President Kamala Harris X account, POTUS asked me to lead our diplomatic work with Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to address the situation at the southern border. So she was clearly in charge of it. And do you recall, she was telling you how secure it was.
Would you call the border secure?
The border is secure.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border is secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
So 2 million. That seems like a low number now.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it was like you wish it was only 2 million. It's well over 10 million now. That's the point. She's a colossal screw up. You would never hire this person to run a company, to be a manager in a company, if you worked for a company that was dependent upon Kamala Harris to turn a profit, you would be polishing up your resume and sending it out because you know your time would not be long, that company would not be long. But that's who runs our country. Our nation is controlled by people who are colossal failures at real life, and for some reason we bestow upon these people the ability to lord over us. And this is why, Casey, for all those months I was begging for Trump and the Republicans to come out with a concrete set of issues and plans and specifics on how they were going to do them, because we all knew it was not going to be Joe Biden as the nominee. And once that flipped, then it's back to business as usual. And it sort of seems like the Republicans are still trying to find their message or narrative right now, which is ridiculous because everybody knew she was probably going to be the nominee.
So you were asking about one of her accomplishments. She does... would you say accomplish? She has a really hard time retaining staff. When she started in her office in 2021, she had 47 staff members. And out of those people, only 4 of the originals remain. So she has turned over 92% of her staff as vice president.
Okay, so my question to you is, because we live in a different world than regular people in the sense of we consume this stuff basically 24/7. We have much stronger opinions. We have much stronger ideologies. Is the average person going to see Kamala Harris and be impressed by her? Like, there's certain people, like Gavin Newsom looks like an impressive dude. Now, he's a total leftist maniac, but you see him, you hear him, you go, that's an impressive guy. He'd probably do pretty well running a national election. You could see where people would want to come see him speak. With her, and given the fact that she is Joe Biden, they act like this is some new person who's come to the scene. She's totally connected to Joe Biden, which is everything that they've done to screw up this country, which has pissed everybody off. Is the average person, I know what the media is telling you, I know what the narrative is, but in reality, does the average person look at this cackling shrew who wouldn't know the truth if it smacked her between the eyes, who is totally void of any significant accomplishment in her entire elected life, and go, yeah, that's who I want running the country?
Well, I think that's why you have to do your research and the history of her and what she has and has not done. And I think the average person looks at her and sees somebody who's dancing and vibrant, and it's a sharp contrast compared to what we've seen from Joe Biden. And she's going to be relying a lot on
Wait. You didn't answer my question, though. So do you think that the regular people are going to see her and go, yeah, I want her? I'm not asking you, like, to have the same opinion I do. I'm curious, do you think regular people, like you got some mom friends somewhere, right, that aren't engaged in this stuff, are they going to see this and it's not going to dawn on them, oh, yeah, she was right there with Biden the whole time? Like, where are we at in terms of how people are going to view her?
Yeah, no, I think people are going to tie her to the Biden-Harris administration. How can you not? They have to.
People do stupid stuff all the time.
Yes, and they're trying to rebrand her and repackage her and lie to you and gaslight you and say all the wonderful things that she has done and will do and can do. But I think a lot of people are going to look at her and see, yeah, she does have an energy level that we haven't seen out of the president in a while. So when you compare her to Joe Biden, yeah, she is more vibrant. So that is attractive to some people. Like, okay, well, this is a step in the right direction. What you have to do, though, is look into her ideology and what she wants to do to this country, which clearly seems like it's destroy it. She's going to rely a lot on younger voters. But here's the thing. You have to pay attention to what she has said. This is what she thinks of younger voters.
And it's a specific phase of life. Remember, age is more than a chronological fact. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories, and they have a resident assistant. They make really bad decisions.
Like voting for her. It's one of the possibilities. Okay, so something else came out yesterday, and that was that the FBI announced that the gunman who tried to assassinate Donald Trump, he did a Google search of how far away was Oswald from Kennedy. So are we putting a lot of stock into people's search history?
It's in your search history. Can you tell us?
I clear it out. I do a lot of research. It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
The deals keep coming at Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield. Tony Katz here at Andy Moore Ford. The people, the selection, the service, everything you want. Shop their wide selection of certified pre-owned vehicles, all marked with more savings, so you can be sure you're driving home with the best deal. And their commercial truck center is currently undergoing big changes, which means bigger and better things for you coming soon. Stop by today. Check out every vehicle they have on the lot and all the electric vehicles they've got. The Mustang Mach-E, the E-Transit, and that F-150 Lightning, all in stock with more arriving daily. The all-electric F-150 Lightning has you covered with seating up to 5, intelligent backup power, and onboard power for all your tools and gear. And they've got the incentives, the rebates, the federal, the state incentives that can save you up to $7,500 instantly on site. Talk to Andy Moore Ford in Plainfield about your new car, your new truck, or your new electric vehicle. Andy Moore Ford, M-O-H-R. I love Andy. AndyMooreFord.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts this weekend. For 3 days only, this Friday through Sunday, get 20% off rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com. 3 days only and Sunday.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Coming up in 2 minutes, an arrest made in a Southern Indiana murder case. Plus, who else was in Indiana on Wednesday campaigning for the November election, and where the city and MLS stand as far as a possible expansion franchise. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios. After Fox News Radio, you're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
House Republicans are about to condemn Vice President Harris. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In a resolution they may vote on this hour, critical of the job she did as President Biden's border czar after record illegal immigration.
We have 20 million people. Many of them are criminals. Many of them are terrorists pouring into our country. We have no idea who they are, where they come from.
And former President Trump also tells Fox this morning his new Democratic opponent is a far-left radical. And before becoming vice president,
she was a failed prosecutor. She put a lot of people in jail that should have never been there. She put people in jail that were political enemies.
Now, next hour, Vice President Harris, the new presumptive Democratic nominee, will address a teachers union convention in Texas after putting out her first campaign video.
There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate.
After she returns from Houston, Vice President Harris will meet with Israel's prime minister hours after President Biden sits down with Benjamin Netanyahu discussing the war against Hamas in Gaza after his address to Congress while thousands protested outside. Some of them burned American flags. Former President Trump tells Fox anyone who does that should get a year in jail. Now, those demonstrators replaced the burned flags they took down with Palestinian flags that were flying in D.C. near the Capitol until those flags were taken down. And U.S. flags put back up as Republican lawmakers cheered, then recited the Pledge of Allegiance. House Speaker Mike Johnson was there and just told Fox,
"We cannot allow the pro-terrorist mobs to win."
The economy got stronger in the spring, doubling the growth at the start of the year in a new report out today.
The gross domestic product for the second quarter easily topped expectations of a 2% increase. The GDP expanded at a 2.8% pace in the spring.
That's Fox's Jenny Casola. America's listening to Fox News.
3 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They say he did it. Radar is clear, 74 and partly sunny downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. A man has been arrested in the discovery of a man found shot to death in Owen County from earlier this month. Malik Sims was found shot in the head in a rural part of Owen County July 15th, and state police say Quentin Porter Jr. is his killer. Kamala Harris wasn't the only candidate on the presidential ticket in Indiana on Wednesday. Republican VP nominee J.D. Vance was in Fort Wayne, where he held a fundraising event at the airport there. The event raised almost $1 million.
This is very significant. It basically substantiates that Allen County is the hotbed of Republican excitement in the state of Indiana.
Allen County GOP Chairman Steve Shine. Senator Todd Young says Israel did the right thing in responding to Hamas's attack on them beginning last October.
They've been protecting their people, and they've done what is necessary to try and prevent these sorts of evil acts from occurring again.
He also says it was wrong for Vice President Harris to not be in Washington for Benjamin Netanyahu's address. A teenager charged with murder Wednesday. Donnie Burgess explains.
A shots-fired call came into Vincennes Police Wednesday morning around 1 o'clock. Witnesses say the suspect, later ID'd as 18-year-old Calvin Whitmer, ran away from the scene. Police tracked him down a short time later, and Whitmer eventually gave up. He's been booked into the Knox County Jail. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The possibility for Major League Soccer to expand to Indianapolis is certainly there, but for MLS Commissioner Don Garber,
there isn't a specific plan to expand, but I know many of you might have seen the mayor of Indianapolis that was here over the last couple of days.
Mayor Joe Hogsett has been discussing expansion with Garber at the MLS All-Star Week in Columbus, Ohio. The Indianapolis Colts signed wide receiver Laquan Treadwell yesterday. The 29-year-old was the 23rd pick overall in the 2016 NFL Draft by the Vikings, but has played for 6 different teams since then. Training camp practice getting going today. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's hot out there, and if you're tired of paying high utility bills every month because your home AC keeps running, it's because your windows aren't energy efficient. If yours are builder grade and over 8 years old, the seals are likely broken and air is leaking out, and you're paying the price in high utility bills all year long. Window Nation's high-quality windows are built to last a lifetime. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free. There's no limit on how much you could save. Plus, you could save even more with 0 down and no interest or payments for 24 months.
And Window Nation's windows come with a lifetime warranty and can be installed in 1 day or less. They were even recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies in America. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule a fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, July 25th. It's 5 minutes after 10. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. Thank you for listening today. And tomorrow at 9:15, Senator Mike Braun is going to join us. And yesterday we put it out there, hey, we know what we want to ask him. What do you want us to ask him? And I did get a couple suggestions.
Oh, how exciting.
Somebody said, I'd like you to ask him about the terrible achievement scores of kids despite the large amount of money given to the red-shirted teachers.
Hey, let's stop on that for a second, shall we?
Sure.
I want to go into this because one of the, obviously, newsflash, hello, right out of the gate, we're going to start talking about property taxes. And I think he's actually speaking at an event tonight. Mike is going to be there. I got invited to go. I think I'm going to go ahead and go just to see kind of what his spiel is to the Front Porch Patriots. And the problem when I go places, Casey, is then I become the star and the thing, right? And I don't.
You don't want to take the shine off.
I don't want that, but I feel like I should probably go to this thing tonight since they were very nice and invited me, directly. But I would assume Braun has been around long enough and he's got enough experienced people around him. They are not walking in here tomorrow without some big announcement on property taxes. They are not going to be like, well, we'll look into it and, it's a 2-year, thing. They cannot imagine. My jaw will hit the floor tomorrow if he does not come in here. It may be a bad plan. It may not be as far as our audience wants it to go. But I cannot imagine.
He's got to have something.
I cannot imagine he's not going to have anything.
Yeah.
So, but the argument against this, and this played out in the community where I live this week. So the argument against the property tax reform, which is wholly ridiculous. So keep in mind, there's 2 ways schools are funded primarily in the state of Indiana from dollars inside the state. Number 1 is the state of Indiana, and number 2 are property taxes. The state of Indiana, which don't forget, when they capped the property tax to begin with, they raised your sales tax. This argument from the beginning about lost revenue this and public education hurting that, they funded they created a new tax to fund the teachers. They raised a tax to fund the teachers. So you've got $20 billion plus every 2 years going to public education from the state. And then annually, you've got almost $9 billion coming from property taxes, Casey. So what is that? That's almost $20 billion annually, every year in this state from local and state dollars going to public education. And yet we are led to believe that if you create an environment by which people now can afford to stay in their homes and have get the government out of having a lien on their homes, that somehow the public education system would suffer. Now, let me tell you what they did in Brownsburg this week. And when we mentioned Brownsburg, I know some people roll their eyes, but there's a good chance if you're in a suburban school district, the same crap that's going on where I live is something similar is going on where you live.
I know where you're going to go with this, and I want to set you up for it.
Yes.
So the same person who said that they'd like to know about the achievement scores for kids, despite all the money going to the red-shirted teachers, she also said, I'm a teacher. Not red-shirted, though.
Right.
She said state administration is the problem.
Oh, yes.
Teachers spend half their time completing busy work to satisfy the administration rather than teaching. That's the problem. Go.
So, and Casey, what is my least favorite part of every show?
When you come on here and you have to tell everybody that we're right.
Right. So if you remember I think it was December, I told you that despite all the huffing and puffing from Brownsburg about being the #1 school system and we're the best and Bulldog pride this and that, they were going to run the superintendent, Jim Snap, out of his position. And they ultimately did. He technically resigned, but let's face it, everybody knows what's going on. They forced him out. And I said they were doing this from the beginning because they hired this woman to be the principal at Brownsburg High School, who was hired because she was like an assistant superintendent at Hamilton Southeastern. Nobody goes from assistant superintendent, which is management, down to being a worker bee. And they brought her in there at the time with the understanding you will become the next superintendent of this school district. Just hold tight. We're going to run the old guy out because he's left, but he's not left enough. And it was right on track, right? Like the train was heading down the track to make her the next superintendent. They ran Snap out. They were ready to hire her. And then right at the last minute, 2 really good candidates filed for school board, which got the 2 horrible Eric Hilton and his dumbass stooge assistant Mike Wells super nervous. And what do you know? Voila, they pivoted out of hiring her. She was one of the finalists for the position. They pivoted out and hired Snap's assistant, the assistant superintendent under him, which that doesn't make any sense. So wait a second. We're the #1 school district, but we run the guy out who's in there, so then we hire his assistant for the position we just ran him out of. Does that make any sense to anyone? No, of course not. Well, now they got this major problem with this lady who they brought in with the understanding she was going to be the superintendent. And they got to do something with her because now she's super pissed off.
Well,
so You know what they did, Casey?
They created a position, Rob.
They created the associate superintendent position. So now in Brownsburg, we have a superintendent. We have an associate superintendent. And now we have an assistant superintendent.
Yep, you've got 3 superintendents. $500,000.
You add the salaries up, and it's almost $500,000. That's not including benefits and retirement and the cars and the cell phones. I bet when you add it all up annually, you're probably well over $600,000 in terms of money going to 3 people who have nothing to do with the classroom.
That's it exactly. I was going to ask you, how much is going to the classroom and the actual teaching of children?
They invented a position for this woman, not because she earned it, not because she was deserving. She was the high school principal for 1 year, Casey. 1 year she was the high school principal, and we're led to believe magically that in a school system probably that employs well over 1,000 people, that she was we're going to invent this position. And I'll be darned, Casey, this woman just happens to be the most bull. Everybody knows what went on there. But my point on this is these schools, these people who cry foul or act like your kid's going to end up in a one-room schoolhouse if we do something big on property taxes. This school system with benefits has more than $600,000 laying around to pay people who do absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. What goes on in the classroom? Teachers this, teachers that. These people, the left, they do not care about you, teachers. They do not care about you.
All right, somebody else wanted to know when universal school choice was going to be fully implemented. So a lot of education questions coming up. And there was also somebody wanted to know about the thought process that Mike Braun had when he learned that Micah Beckwith was going to be his running mate. And so we'll ask him, if we have time, how that relationship is going.
So tomorrow, when Braun gives whatever answer that he
gives... Well, we
gives,
just laid out for what we're going to ask him.
Knows. He's not
like
stupid,
it's going to be a surprise.
He's not stupid. He knows what we're going to ask him. If Mike Braun gives you any answer other than we are freezing property tax assessments and we are sending a directive to get out of the property tax game, it's he doesn't want to. It's not that he can't. If I'm picking one school system, trust me, pick your favorite suburban school system, and there's a good chance it's almost as bad as this in some shape, form, or fashion. These people have all this money. They have more money than they know what to do with. These construction projects, hiring 3 superintendents. This crap's happening everywhere, Casey. And these schools don't need more money. They don't need the amount of money they have now. There is every opportunity with a new governor coming in to move past this disaster that has been Holcomb, this big government boondoggle bullcrap, the crony capitalism, kneeling to the angry red-shirted teachers, kneeling to the public education lunatics. We have every opportunity with Mike Braun coming in and a legislature, and I've heard this from multiple people, who is desperate to move past the days of Eric Holcomb. You know they want to do something big. You know they want to get a win. Everybody in the State House has already accepted property taxes are the issue. And Braun has an opportunity to lead tomorrow and lay that out and say, here is what I'm calling for, and here is what we're going to do. And I guarantee you, if that was what he came in with tomorrow, now if he comes in with this, we're going to tie property taxes to the rate of inflation or the growth of economy, he is going to get crushed if that's what he comes in here with. And I cannot imagine a guy who has made as much money in his life as Mike Braun has, a guy who's been as successful in business as Mike Braun has, knowing what show he's coming on and where he's coming into, is going to come in here with anything less than something really big.
Now, do you think that he's going to be working it out tonight at his event? That
who knows?
Get a reaction, see if he needs some late night tweaking before he comes on here.
What if he's got something bad and doesn't go over? Well, are they going to be up till 3 a.m. coming up with something different?
Well, they should.
Look,
they need to come up with something that works for Hoosiers.
You know, there's two sides of this, right? Like we are not the end all be all. There is a limit to which we affect things, but clearly. And Micah will admit this to you, and I think any reasonable person would admit, and I heard this from people on the floor at the convention, our show was the juice that pushed him across the finish line. Donald Rainwater will admit this to you, and I'm sure he will Monday when he comes in here. He's coming in Monday for an hour. Our show was the juice that led hundreds of thousands of people to walk away from the Republican Party and vote for him in 2020. We aren't some magic bullet that can alter, go get a guy from 5% to 30% in the polls, but we do have enough. Our audience is loyal enough and passionate enough and engaged enough that if Mike Braun comes in here and bombs tomorrow, he's in big trouble.
Okay, so Donald Rainwater did say that he looks forward to answering questions and hopefully talk about the issues that will give Hoosiers better government, not bigger government, in 25 and beyond. So it'll be really interesting because we're going to have Braun on Friday, Rainwater on Monday. You'll be able to see them back to back.
Yeah.
And what their plan is.
Who else is doing more for you to give you more transparency about who the... And by the way, I don't think Braun is going to bomb tomorrow. I'm cautiously optimistic that Mike Braun's going to roll in here with something that is going to blow us away.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
There's nothing more that I would love than to be supportive of him and what he has to offer. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, Casey, and I'm sure I'll be thoroughly underwhelmed now that I've said this, but I'm going to give a Republican the benefit of the doubt, and I think Mike Braun is going to totally wow us tomorrow.
Well, he'll be here at 9:15 tomorrow, so make sure you're listening. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
One thing I'm seeing right now is the hero tour for Joe Biden. All of these same people that were taking that dagger and putting it directly into his back politically, they're the ones saying, what a great American. Oh, look at Joe Biden. He was such a great president. Well, if that was the case, then why did you just fire him?
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
From marshmallow festivals to fireworks on the shore. No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. During Hubler's Freedom to Drive, shop any of our 12 locations and choose from Chevys, Fords, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and many more. Over 2,000 vehicles. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report.
'Cause Hubler's got you covered.
No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. During our Freedom to Drive, visit drivehubler.com or any of our 12 locations.
Cover me!
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
Dale Griffith, how the hell are you?
Well, I'm still $1 million shy of being a millionaire.
On 93 WIBC.
Well, this is interesting. He said it's going to be the end of expansion for a period of time until we're ready to expand again. This from the MLS commissioner. Dumping a bucket of cold water on the possibility of Indianapolis getting a soccer team.
Okay, so this was really interesting. And so much of our society is the headline, right? Because so many people don't actually read the articles. Here's the headline from Indy Star.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do Hogshead any favors with this headline.
No.
MLS Commissioner Don Garber cools talks of expansion to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And you're reading that and you're like, oh my gosh, it's all over. When you read the article a little more in depth, they say, look, we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and we don't even know when the future is, but right now there are no plans to go to Indianapolis. San Diego just opened or is getting ready to open its doors in 2025 with an MLS team, and they simply said, look, with the World Cup coming in, we're not going to even mess with this right now, and it will be the I don't think they use the term distant future, but it will not be this year or next year or even the year after that we are going to announce any sort of franchise expansion. And if you read into the article, one of the things that one of their owners, I think one of these team owners said, is we think the longer this goes, the more we'll get for these rights fees to have these teams. So we're not in any hurry to do this because they're at 30 teams right now. They see it ultimately probably matching the NFL in terms of a 32-team cap. And they said, we're kind of doing well. The league's doing fine. We don't need this. We just got this infusion of cash from San Diego. So if you're Joe Hogsett, what's the actual play here if you can't deliver not only this year, but according to this article and multiple sources cited in the article, including what appears to be the head honcho of MLS, you're not even going to be able to deliver this in 2 or 3 years. What is politically, even if it works out in the long run, there's a chance you're going to be gone by the time this happens.
Right.
And what is the win politically while you've burned all this capital and created all this ill will for the next 3 or 4 years, up to and including you may lose the Indy 11? Like, what is the win here in all of this? Soccer's your world. You know this better than I do.
Well, so they're like hedging their bets a little if you go read the article, because it's like, yeah, we're not expanding today. However, they go on to say that they like the idea of Indianapolis. They love the support from the city leaders in the state. They like the location that they've talked about for a stadium. They're going to continue to work with, they don't say Hogsett, but that's what they mean. And then they go on to say, so we're going to see how this plays out. It's like very non-committal. They even go on to say that they like the idea of having an MLS team in Indianapolis because that way the sports fans can travel to Columbus and they'll go on the road for away games. So they like the idea, but they didn't commit to anything.
Well, and so that is, and obviously Joe Hogsett's never going to come on this show, and
he made it sound like it was a done deal, like they're all on board.
Well, my question is, and obviously I drive past that Diamond Chain facility where the 11 was going to go every day going home from work. And I look at it now, and it's like, okay, so you had a guaranteed thing, right? Like you had a guaranteed good neighbor, good tenant, good steward of responsibility as a company, very involved in the community, loyal fan base, and you had this guaranteed thing that was going to go there and around that stadium, and you are flushing that all down the toilet now. This will never be that. There's no way Ursula Özdemir is going to do that. Likely it's going to I shouldn't say that. I think a reasonable person would assume there is a strong chance the Indy 11 will long-term not want to stay here if they know someone is constantly behind them trying to bring something in to ruin their ability to exist.
Yeah.
So whether that ends up being Fort Wayne or Evansville or, wherever else they might ultimately want to get out of here where they can be loved and supported, you've thrown all of that away. And at the very least, you've thrown away the relationship. Like, even if they're here, the relationship is not the same.
Well, and they would be competing.
So, yeah, you've
attention.
You've thrown away
fans.
Goodwill. You've thrown away stability. You've thrown away potential billions in investment for the idea that maybe in 5 years or 4 years or whatever, you might get this thing and it may not even work. Is that, as I've gotten older, I have learned that, like when I was a younger person, I took some crazy risks in business. Some of them worked out great. Some of them worked out horribly. In the end, I learned a lot from the successes and the failures. But what I ultimately realized as I got older is life is a risk versus reward analysis. And the people who do risk versus reward analysis well are generally the most stable, well-funded existing people you know. It took me into my mid-30s to learn that. And I just think if you're using that as the standard, when it's the risk-reward, where there was no risk with the Indy 11 thing, and you knew what you were going to get with them, burning all of that to the ground, was it worth the risk of potentially 5, 6, 7 years from now getting an MLS team that you don't even know is going to work.
And it goes back to, is that juice going to be worth that
Right,
squeeze?
exactly, yeah.
Because that's what they've done. So what we have now is the city is asking the Indiana State Budget Committee to approve funding, right, including state tax dollars for this soccer-specific stadium. And once that's secured, then they can begin designing. And are they trying to do that so they can go back to MLS and say, look, no, we're really serious now. We want you guys to get on board. And is that going to push MLS to hurry up their timeline?
Well, and
the way it was presented to us from Hogsett was they're on board.
Right. And he had an ownership group supposedly
Right.
lined up. And again, how that has not come out definitively who that is really interesting to me. But even if this works out, even if this, like, let's say you get the team, I don't think there's any guarantee it's going to be successful. I think Indianapolis is kind of a fickle sports city in terms of you look at, hey, when the Colts are doing great, everybody's there, right? It's 65 large in Lucas Oil Stadium. When the Colts are not good, hey, it's $20 tickets on StubHub, and you might have to give them away. Same thing with the Pacers. The Indians are sort of bulletproof on that because the ballpark is the attraction, but we are not a city that when teams are not doing well tends to loyally in large quantities flock. So while even if you get the team, and let's say there's a 2 or 3 year window where, hey, that's the thing and it's the hip place to be and everybody's there. If they stink in year 4, year 5, are people still going to be as giddy or as excited about a bad soccer team?
I don't think it's fair to compare MLS to the NBA, for one, because the NBA just signed that 11-year media agreement with Disney and NBC and Amazon. And it's also not fair to compare them to the NFL. I mean, we're talking like a multi-billion-dollar industry,
right.
The NFL. And so MLS is not that size. MLS also doesn't have the media agreements that NFL and NBA have, or even college football for that matter.
You need friends in life, Casey. And when you needlessly burn relationships over somebody who wanted to be your friend and did nothing wrong to you, I just think that's a bad road to run down.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC, and we're going to hear from you coming up next.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Running down the list, it's partly cloudy and 73 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. After dropping out of the 2024 election, President Biden says it's time to pass the torch to a new generation of political leaders. While delivering a primetime address from the Oval Office on his decision, Biden ran down some of what he says are accomplishments of his presidency.
We finally beat Big Pharma after all these years to lower the cost of prescription drugs for seniors. And I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we lower the cost for everyone, not just seniors.
The president reiterated his intention to remain in office and listed some priorities over the next 6 months. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting with President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris separately today. On Friday, the prime minister is scheduled to visit former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. The United States women's national soccer team will be hitting the pitch for the first time today at the Paris Olympics. They'll face Zambia as they begin their quest for their first gold medal since the 2012 London Olympics. I'm Kirk Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Absolute Comfort. Chris Wedekin is the owner, and he tells us why many homeowners are giving up their air conditioners for a high-efficiency heat pump.
By removing your air conditioner and replacing it with a heat pump, you are not only saving by getting a higher efficiency air conditioner, the heat pump works in reverse and saves you money in the wintertime as well.
See if a heat pump is the right move for you by going to AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
The new Bluebell Cookies and Cream Cheesecake is cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Again, cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Buy two.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Pierce Jewelers is the best family-owned jewelry store in Carmel. All jewelry and watch repair, appraisals, and custom design are done in-house. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
The phone number 317-684-8444 if you'd like to voice your opinion, comment, question, smart remark, whatever is on your mind. Somebody called and it was like a 4-minute phone call.
Oh, wow.
And he was really, really fired up. And I think he just wanted to use it as an opportunity to get a lot off of his chest.
Oh.
Which was fine. If that's what you need to do, you can use the voicemail line for that.
What's the longest voicemail you've ever left somebody? I don't think I've ever left more than about a 20-second voicemail to somebody.
Yeah, I like to get straight to the point, repeat the phone number and why I'm calling.
Right.
It's like, pretty direct. Hey, it's Casey. I'm calling for this.
Right.
Here's my number. Repeat the number. Hang up.
That's correct.
Yeah. So I don't like to use the voicemail for a long, rant or tangent.
Hey, I know I mentioned this yesterday, too, before we get into these voicemails, but I just wanted to say the people were so concerned that my account had been hacked by someone yesterday because I said something nice about the town of Brownsburg.
You did. The sidewalks in front of your house.
The street department did excellent. They fixed the sidewalks in front of my house. I went to that council meeting 2 weeks ago, and here we are 2 weeks later, and my sidewalks are fixed. They look very nice. 40 years of complaining. They've finally been fixed. Those guys did a great job. So I did want to, because I know a lot of those guys are listeners to the program. So it was nice to talk to some of them yesterday. And thank you for fixing my sidewalks.
I'm sure you'll have a tricycle riding up and down that sidewalk real soon.
Well, now we've got to get my street fixed. And they told me that was going to be in the fall. So we'll see.
One thing at a time. All right. Well, somebody wanted to call and talk about Kamala Harris.
Concerning the media Democrat narrative about the overwhelming swell of support for Kamala Harris, I've noted also that in both Barnes & Noble and on Audible, her book is being front featured. And it reminds me of 2008 when Barack Obama had two books very conveniently and any questions concerning their background or controversies, the media immediately referred to their books.
Okay, so she does have a memoir. It's called The Truths We Hold, An American Journey. It was originally published in 2019. And in the past 48 hours, it has gone to #1 on Amazon's biographies of politicians and also #1 for women's biographies. It's on the bestseller charts once again.
Can you imagine subjecting yourself to reading that book? I mean, can you imagine, like, what did you lose a bet? Did you draw the short straw? Like, what happened in your existence that you're
being punished?
You spent of your own volition and free will and money to read that book.
So the book is described as it details her journey into politics, beginning with her childhood in California as the child of immigrants and also civil rights activists. There you go. All right, another phone call. This one, again, about Oliver from the Brady Bunch.
Hi, I just wanted to comment. Okay. The Oliver character on the Brady Bunch was, in fact, on the Brady Bunch and was actually, as the other caller suggested, Carol's nephew. He's a little blonde kid with glasses. Then on the Partridge Family, there was a neighbor kid, a cute little dark-haired boy who never lived with the Partridges, but he could sing a little bit, so occasionally he would join the singing part of the Partridge Family. So now you know. And I also want to mention the reason you get more responses and more callers and people willing to participate on kind of the trivial parts of the show instead of the burning issues of the day is it's so much more fun to talk about these trivial things because we feel like we can actually have an opinion and understand 70s television more than we can understand the modern era of politics. So that's what I think, and thanks for the show. Keep up the good work.
Does that make sense to you? You said you were combining two memories yesterday.
So did I?
About the Partridge Family.
There's just a lot of stuff.
See, I wasn't big into the Partridge Family. That was my older sister's. That was her show. I mean, I recall it being on, but I didn't really watch it.
All these shows were kind of the same, weren't they?
No, Brady Bunch was definitely different.
Really? I mean, they were. The Brady Bunch weren't singers, were they?
Well, they did have a variety show there at the end.
Right, they did. And see, this is the thing. Remember that Davy Jones on the Brady Bunch? Didn't he go to prom with
Marsha?
Marsha Brady. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It all runs together at this point. I don't. We've had this conversation before about the file cabinet, and there's only
so much space in your memory.
Yeah.
You're confusing Oliver with somebody from the Partridge Family. I don't know the little kid's name on the Partridge Family. I don't recall it. Okay, so somebody wanted to call and talk about how Joe Biden mispronounces things.
Hey, Rob. Hey, Casey. Michael and Campbell. Just want to remind everybody that the so-called President of the United States referred to Laken Riley as Lincoln Riley. None of the pigsty and the View go ape over that. No, it was just a slip by a demented old man with a poor memory. So it's Laken Riley, not Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Take care.
That's
Good morning.
true.
Bye.
Yeah. Last night during his speech, he did have a few losses against the teleprompter.
Yeah, and he was slurring his words.
Yeah.
He was slurring his words, Casey.
Yeah.
Like, again, that was such a waste of time because you had texted me. I went for a walk. I totally forgot the thing was on. I said, crap, I got to go do this. But the nice thing about the internet now on the YouTubes, because all these people stream these speeches, is you can just rewind and you can see the little box as you're rewinding and you can find the exact moment that he started. And you're like, okay, I start from there. And about 5 minutes in, it was like, I guess I'll sit through the end of this. But I was playing with my kid most of the time because it was like, he's slurring, he's lying. There's nothing new here.
There was one point when he was talking, he said something about he was the only president to not have us in a war.
Hello, the last one. And what is going on in Ukraine?
Right.
What are we doing
and
there?
That's what I kept thinking. Like, okay, well, we're in a financial war then. Why are we sending all this money over there? And a lot of people have compared the last couple days to last week and a half to a movie.
Guys, I just had a question. Why do I feel like I'm living in the movie Dave? And, I just don't know. I'm waiting for Biden to come out and say, the fish was this big. Thanks, bye.
He's talking about the movie starring Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver, where the president has a medical issue and then they bring a lookalike out. Yeah, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a question about Harris's running mate.
So it looks like Biden is out and Kamala is in. Who do you guys think she'll pick as a running mate? Do you think she'll pick like a Newsom or Whitmer, or do you think those two wouldn't want to lower themselves as they see it, because they're both narcissists? They would want to lower themselves to the VP spot. Or do you think she'll go outside the box and pick some random person we haven't heard of? Or maybe even Michelle. I don't know, though. I don't think Michelle would want to be VP if she doesn't want to be president. So what do you guys think? Who do you think she'll pick?
Okay, so the leader right now in the clubhouse, if you believe the media, and they don't have any ideas, Mark Kelly.
Yeah.
Mark Kelly's a senator from Arizona. He is the husband of Gabby Giffords, who was shot. He was an astronaut. The people that think it's going to be Buttigieg are dreaming. There's no way she is going to put any person who might upstage her anywhere near the White House. And let's face it, Buttigieg is full of crap, but he sounds competent when he's full of crap, right? I mean, the guy's a disaster. He's he was a terror. Back me up, Casey. That's your neck of the woods. Pete Buttigieg, how'd he do as mayor of South Bend?
Not so great. His big campaign was 1,000 houses in 1,000 days, because there were a lot of dilapidated buildings.
What is he, Michael Landon from Little House on the Prairie? Is
Yeah.
he building them himself?
That was his goal. He wanted to transform all of them.
Michael Landon was Little House on the Prairie, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
That was Charles Ingalls.
Maybe we want to make sure I wasn't combining those two together too. But he's been even worse as a transportation secretary. The point is, the media loves him. They fawn over him because the media loves incompetent buffoons who are highly placed in the government. And he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, even though he clearly does not. She's not putting him anywhere near. So I think you're looking at Kelly. I think you're looking at the governor of Pennsylvania. The governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro, would actually be the perfect pick. Problem for him is he's Jewish.
Right, and that goes against what a lot of people feel in the Democrat Party.
Well, look at yesterday.
Anti-Semitism running
the base
wild.
of your party is anti-Semitic, pro-Hamas maniacs. So he would be the perfect pick, but she's not going to pick him. And then you've got Bashir in Kentucky. A lot of people think he's not really all that popular. He's just popular in Kentucky because his dad was, a fairly famous governor there. So I don't know. I mean, it could be. I think it's going to be a white man, but what white man it is, anybody's guess.
Well, there's also rumors that she's considering the governor of North Carolina as well as the governor of Illinois. But you're right. And even Gretchen Whitmer's name is being tossed around again, but I don't see that happening either. But the number one choice so far today, of course, this will change tomorrow, is Mark Kelly from Arizona. All right, one last phone call, and this is about Rush Limbaugh.
Hey, Kendall and Casey. Got a question for my fellow Rush lover and Rob Kendall. I agree with what you said last week about how it seems like the Republican Party is selling its soul to get more votes. And I totally agree that when you start making compromises on your core convictions, that you're just in for a downfall. But my question is for Rob is, do you believe that if Rush was still around today, that he would voice his opposition as much as you do, Rob? Because I'm kind of having my doubts. I know it's been almost 4 years since he's gone, but I'm having my doubts whether I think he would back Trump wholeheartedly and not mention his issues if he had any or express them. So I just wondering what you thought. Thanks a lot for all you guys do.
That's a good question. I will say this. Rush Limbaugh is the greatest broadcaster who ever lived. He is the Babe Ruth of radio. He is the reason we do what we do today. He reinvented the whole industry. In fact, he really made the industry. So I want to put all of that out there. I want to say, before I answer this question and make somebody mad, that as a little kid, I wanted to be Rush Limbaugh, and until the day he died, I basically listened to him every single day. That being said, Rush Limbaugh and I did not view the world the same way in terms of how we viewed the Republican Party. Rush viewed them as some sort of answer. I view them as a major part of the problem. And Rush would oftentimes try to defend, I felt, especially as I got older and understood it better, defend or rationalize, like especially during the Bush years, things, the Iraq War, things like that. I am much more libertarian than Rush was, so I think Rush would handle this differently than I do. But Rush Limbaugh is also connected to those people. He was personal friends with Donald Trump. He was friends with George W. Bush. This is why we took the stand long ago. We don't like any of these people and don't want to be friends with any of them.
So you're under the impression that he would have maybe towed the company line a little bit more?
But the great thing about Rush Limbaugh, and he is probably about the only person you could say this about, his politics didn't even matter. You listen to Rush Limbaugh whether you liked his politics or not, because he was so damn entertaining. It's literally, I mean, it's as if he is the Babe Ruth of radio, and he was so much better than any person who ever came before, and he's so much better than any person who will ever come again. Rush Limbaugh was so good. I used to love to wait to hear him read ads, Casey. Like, I would get such a thrill out of hearing him I almost said something else. Bull crap his way through ads, because I'm listening to this as someone in radio going, he is the only guy that can pull this off. So before everybody gets angry because I said something negative about Rush, all the things about him being the best ever, but we approach radio pretty different.
Yeah. Well, you know who else you listen to because he's so entertaining? That is Jason Hammer, and he's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
Casey, you're aging gracefully.
Oh, thank you.
Are you within 5 years of filing for Social Security?
Maybe. I'm not telling you.
No, you're not yet, but you will be someday.
Someday.
And get this, 90... Very well preserved, by the way. Don't let anybody tell you anything else.
Your
husband's a very lucky man. Get this.
He's so lucky, Rob. Can we just not even do this commercial and talk about how incredibly lucky he is?
But Bill Demery wants you to know that 96% of Americans, 96% forfeit an average of $111,000 in Social Security income, and it's all because they file for their benefits at the wrong time.
Yeah, you can learn how to avoid this with a free customized Social Security analysis from Bill Demery. If you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912.
You know, for some people, filing for Social Security early could result in more net income in retirement. This free analysis pinpoints exactly how you could get the most income from Social Security. Casey, tell them where to call.
317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon. The biggest stories in Indy. Rob Kendall goes off the rails with us. We're going to laugh and have a good time. And don't forget, coming this fall, Hammer and Nigel show tequila with our friends at Hiatus. We'll talk this afternoon, 93 WIBC.
The search for the temporary fix. It's led you back there again, in the pharmacy aisle, looking for the new and improved pill or spray that will clear up your stuffy nose. And you'll give it a try because at least it helps you breathe, right? Yeah, it does. And it may work, but it's hurting you more than it's helping. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we've pioneered simple solutions to nasal breathing problems without the pain and inconvenience of surgery. In-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty require zero surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. There are few, if any, practices that have been performing the balloon sinuplasty procedure longer than Advent. That's why we're a global destination for those living with nasal breathing problems. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for balloon sinuplasty. Because Advent knows, when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends and my family at Life Church. We love Life Church. They've had such an amazing impact on my life, on my family's life over the years. We talk about them all the time. And this Sunday, if you're thinking about a new church home or maybe a first church home or just maybe something different, check out Life Church. They're warm, they're welcoming. They'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Over the years, many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church. They make it easy for you. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Amazing online services. Learn more about everything, lifechurchin.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and July is National Carpet Cleaning Month, and it couldn't come at a better time of year. If you haven't cleaned your carpets this year, Zero Res is giving you a heck of a deal to schedule something now. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129. Get a 4th room free, which is $115 savings, and $75 off air duct cleaning. It's the best way I know to rid your carpets of all the deeply embedded dirt and dander and nasty bacteria, not to mention those uglies that you can see. The patented Zero Res process cleans better than anything on the market. Surfaces dry faster, and your home and business will stay cleaner longer. The ZR Water Difference uses no soap, leaves no residue, and there are no harsh chemicals because they just aren't needed to get things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129, plus you'll get a 4th room free and $75 off air duct cleaning too. Call 317-388-5141 or book things online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
He's joining us from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program, Jason Hammer, in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Store.hammerandnigel.com. Get your T-shirts, get your hats. But we had a big announcement yesterday on the show.
Yes, you did.
Coming this fall to an ale emporium near you. Hammer and Nigel show. Is This Anything Tequila?
How exciting.
Thanks to our friends at Hiatus.
Nice.
Congratulations.
So if you remember, we had a bourbon come out a number of years ago, and it sold out in just days, right? Just days. And since then, we've been desperately trying somebody to work with us, right? Trying to find somebody.
You're that despised as a human that even though you made those people a bunch of money, they didn't want to work with you.
I mean, we outsold major brands in days with the bourbon. And it was important for Nigel and I to make sure it was really good. So we had a taste testing and we rocked it out. Well, we finally have another item rolling out this fall, sometime late September, October-ish. Hammer and Nigel show. Is This Anything Tequila? We had a sampling on the show yesterday. Hiatus is putting this together, and you'll be able to buy a bottle at any ale emporium.
Oh, that's why the pizzas from Ale Emporium is back there. Okay, now that explains it.
Yes. They've got a carryout license at Ale Emporium, so you could go in there, get some wings to go, a bottle of Hammer and Nigel tequila.
Okay.
Take that bad boy home. And
why did you get a pizza with peppers, banana peppers on it? We were thinking about eating that, but it had banana peppers on it. Why did you do that to us?
Why are you the guy that complains about free stuff, you freeloading sack of crap?
I'm just saying, you might want to
No, you're not saying anything. You're being a whiny little bitch. Shut up.
You might want to get things universally.
Hey,
Everybody
we're
can
running out
enjoy.
of time, and I got a good bit, so shut up. We have our tequila line rolling out. But, Rob, you'll be happy to know there's a major leader in the city, somebody with a lot of pull that I think is jumping in the alcohol game as well.
Wow.
Here to weigh in on Hammer and Nigel Show Tequila coming this fall is AI Joe Hogsett.
Yes. Look, when it comes to the upcoming Hammer and Nigel Show Tequila, I've been put in a very rough position. On one hand, I hate Hammer and Nigel.
True.
But on the other hand, I love bottles of liquor. I mean, I really, 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 really love bottles of liquor. But the last thing I want is for Hammer and Nigel to make a bunch of money on this. So I've decided to come out with my own bottle of liquor. Coming soon is Boss Hogsett Vodka. Boss Hogsett Vodka will be a little different than most of vodkas because it's going to be incredibly strong. It takes an awful lot to get me hammered, so this has 24 times the strength of a regular bottle of vodka. It's the perfect bottle of vodka for any occasion. Maybe you're dealing with a sexual harassment scandal in your office. Maybe you couldn't get anybody to hire you.
Maybe.
Or perhaps you've got an upcoming date at a rehab facility. Rest assured, Boss Hogsett Vodka will give you the kick and confidence you need to get through the day. Even if your wife leaves you, don't sweat it. Boss Hogsett Vodka will give you the buzz you need, or you won't even realize she's gone. Boss Hogsett Vodka.
Wow.
It's a riot.
Kicking confidence. Do you think he was offering Kamala Harris
You
that?
just skipped right over the best part. What an end to that. That's an A. You deserve a Marconi for that. It's a riot. Get it? I love that.
There you go. By the way, hat tip to a listener who suggested we need to have AI Boss Hogsett weigh in on our tequila.
I love that.
So that was from the Hammer and Nigel audience.
What's coming up this afternoon?
You.
Oh, that's
Rob
right.
Kendall, maybe you'll come on our show and bitch about free stuff more.
Saying banana peppers.
Starting at 3:06, baby. Let's rock and roll.
Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
Mow, dig, haul, lift. The versatile Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor does it all. Switching attachments is simple, and a smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation. The Kubota BX Series, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Fishers and Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota, or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Aren't you worried Max might run off? He's safe. We installed invisible fence. See a special collar? So he can roam freely but won't leave the yard? Exactly. And it was so easy. Invisible fence installed everything and even sent out an expert to train Max. I need invisible fence for Roxy.
Go to invisiblefence.com to get started today, absolutely risk-free. Give your pet freedom and safety. Go to invisiblefence.com right now and schedule your free consultation. Go to invisiblefence.com. That's invisiblefence.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, this Republican on the presidential ticket raised a lot of money in Indiana yesterday. Plus, Ryan Hedrick reports on new speed cameras that you should be aware of and what Major League Soccer has to say about Indy's bid for a team. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
A Harris rally in Houston. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's about to start as House Republicans get ready to condemn the vice president. More on that in a moment. Now, this Harris address this morning will be before a teachers union convention in Texas, hours after her first campaign video.
We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win.
And now that former President Trump's likely Democratic opponent is the presumptive nominee, he tells Fox,
she's the most radical person probably that we've had in office, let alone the office of the presidency.
As Republicans are working on a vote to have a resolution to condemn Harris, critical of the job she did as President Biden's borders are after record illegal immigration.
Terrorists are coming into our country at a level that we've never seen before, and this is so bad for our country.
But the White House has just put out a report showing after President Biden's executive action trying to limit asylum claims now in effect for 7 weeks, the number of migrants encountered crossing the border illegally is down 55%. 12 days after the Trump assassination attempt, investigators are still trying to determine the dead gunman's motive amid unanswered questions about security lapses at the Pennsylvania rally. The former president also tells Fox he shouldn't have been allowed to take the stage.
It's such a shame. And the Secret Service, they're such great people.
Yes.
It's a blight on their reputation. There should have been somebody on the roof. When you look at it now, it's a clear shot.
Now, a Trump rally attendee was shot and killed, 2 seriously wounded.
David Dutch is now out of the hospital. The 57-year-old stayed in the hospital for 11 days. He's a U.S. Marine veteran and took 2 bullets that evening, one in the chest, the other in his liver, and needed multiple surgeries. A second survivor, 74-year-old James Copenhaver, remains hospitalized.
Fox's Evan Brown. The economy's getting stronger. GDP growth doubled in the spring compared to the first quarter, 2.8%. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
How much Hoosiers gave him. Radar is clear, sunny and 75 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Donald Trump's running mate made a stop in the Hoosier state on Wednesday. J.D. Vance was picked by Trump at the Republican National Convention last week. Since then, he's been all over the U.S., including making a stop in Fort Wayne.
J.D. Vance committed to coming to Fort Wayne because he knows that Fort Wayne is a very loyal Republican base, and there's a lot of support here for he and President Trump.
Allen County GOP Chairman Steve Shine. Vance hosted a closed-door fundraiser where his campaign raised roughly $1 million. At least 35 people are without a place to stay now after a fire at an apartment complex in Indy. It happened at the Bayview Club Apartments on the northeast side, where fire investigators believe a lightning strike is what started the fire. Better watch your speed as you go through some construction zones. Ryan Hedrick explains.
Speed cameras are going up in work zones along a stretch of I-70 near Greenfield.
First incidence is a penalty-free warning. A letter is sent. Second violation is $75.
Natalie Garrett from NDOT tells Wish TV a third incident will cost you $150. The program runs through 2028. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Indianapolis wants Major League Soccer, but right now Major League Soccer is still figuring out if they want Indianapolis.
There isn't a specific plan to expand, but I know many of you might have seen the mayor of Indianapolis that was here over the last couple of days.
That's MLS Commissioner Don Garber, who met with Mayor Joe Hogsett this week at the MLS All-Star Game in Columbus, Ohio. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor says he's ready to get some meaningful reps from Anthony Richardson.
It feels very different, especially when you're healthy and you had a whole offseason full of work. Feel really good.
The Colts holding their first practice this morning of training camp, in which the Colts say Anthony Richardson will have no restrictions as he comes off a season-ending injury to his shoulder from last year. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Got several different cable news outlets and their sources reporting that home prices are actually expected to decline into 2025. And so right now you want to maximize your home sales price before this downturn with the only agent proven to sell for top dollar. That's Mark Deedle. Mitch from Martinsville's house is getting a little too big for him. He wanted to downsize. Heard about Mark on our radio show. He was able to get multiple offers within 48 hours and closed in 30 days.
And what separates Mark Deedle from the competition is the guarantee. Mark Deedle guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. That's what makes Mark Deedle the best. Call him today, 317-755-4232. That's 755-4232, or go to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Thursday, July 25th. It's 5 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So yesterday we were talking about some polling that came out, and there were a few that said that, Kamala Harris is just beating Trump and this is getting crazy. And now there's another new one that came out, and this is involving some of the battleground states. And it says that, Trump is edging out Harris in a lot of these key swing states.
Yeah, this is, and everybody knew this was coming, right? So she, despite the fact being right there with Joe Biden through this disastrous first 3.5 years, and as bad as Biden is, while Kamala is obviously a much better speaker and she doesn't talk to dead people or shake hands with the air, her unlikability is off the charts. We are led to believe by the media now that, this is going to be a Democrat runaway election, right? Like all the momentum's with Kamala, everybody's with her. If you're even saying anything else, you're just going to look so foolish come November. And then the polling comes out, and in every swing state, save for Wisconsin, which they're tied, Kamala Harris is losing to Donald Trump. And the reality is that whether it is Biden or Harris, anyone associated with the current administration, any person with any amount of reasonable intelligence is going to link them together and say, doesn't matter which one of these people it is. These two together have created an environment in which food and rent and gas has reached a certain level of unaffordability for many people. The border's totally out of control. Our foreign policy is a disaster. It doesn't matter which of those two names is at the top of the ticket. And you're seeing, look, Kamala Harris is never going to be any more popular than she is right now.
That's it, exactly. So where you're seeing now and probably over the next week to 10 days, this is the pinnacle for her.
Right. Once people get to, it is the exact thing that happened with her presidential campaign in 2020.
Did she drop out when she was like at 3%?
And she started, remember, she had this huge rally in Oakland and, the first woman black president. Of course, she was an Indian woman elected in 2016, according to the Associated Press.
Well, that was back then.
But whatever, she, oh my gosh, look at all these people and she's on fire. And then people got to see her. They get to know her. She's unlikable. She's unrelatable. She's a liar. She's a total hypocrite. She's totally disingenuous. That cackling laugh. She doesn't go up. There's no room for her but to maneuver up. There's only room, and history shows this with her, that the more people see her. I mean, what are we led to believe? So she had her approval rating negative was like, it was off the charts. It was like one of the highest or lowest approval ratings of any vice president ever. Right. Maybe the most unlikable vice president ever. But yet we're led to believe what? Everybody's going to forget that and suddenly like her better because she's running for president? No, of course not. But the media wants to try to speak this thing into existence, right? If we just say it enough, you won't question it, or you'll get worn down and you'll go along with it and just assume everybody else is too. It's simply not the case. She's not even winning in a majority of these swing states right now.
Yeah, so this is an Emerson College poll, and it says that in Arizona, Trump is up by 5 points, 2 points in Georgia, 1 point in Michigan, and 2 points in Pennsylvania. They're tied in Wisconsin. But
okay, real quick, let's talk about why that matters for a second. Okay. Though she is doing better than Biden for now. And the reason they switched Biden out, and do not kid yourself, like, look at what has happened in this country over the past several weeks. Let's just start at the debate and work our way forward, and the assassination attempt, and who this kid is, and how you can't find anything on him, and then magically Biden just within hours decides he's getting out of the race, and she, without a single vote cast for her, becomes the nominee. Just, you know, the guy that's got the claim, Casey, is that dude from, was it Minnesota?
Dean Phillips.
Dean Phillips that got hundreds of thousands.
He has received more votes than Kamala Harris.
No kidding. He's got hundreds of thousands of votes, 550 or something like that, and he wasn't even included. They anoint her without a single debate or discussion or anything. A literal coup is happening on the Democrat side of the aisle in this country right now, and yet we're led to believe if you think, man, there might have been some shenanigans on election night 2020, you're some sort of radical conspiracy theorist lunatic. No, of course not. And that's what Kamala's about. Kamala's about, they believe, the Democrats believe, giving them an opportunity to keep election night close enough that when the magical truckload of ballots show up, or the 3 days later in Pennsylvania, when I think the votes can still be being tallied, show up, or the finding them under the church pews or whatever, that it's close enough that the jelly bean counters can crack the code for her. That's what this is all about. Don't kid yourself.
Well, now they're trying to rush through that virtual roll call as well so that things can't change at a convention. And this would be a completely different conversation. Think about this. Had that debate between Biden and Trump not happened, this would be a completely different conversation. You would not have had Biden last night addressing the nation the way he did. He wouldn't have needed to. He wouldn't have been forced out like he.
Well, and how do we square? How do you square the fact that we're led to believe he's the greatest, most successful president in American history, yet he's so unpopular he has to get out of the race? How do these two things jive together? Oh, yeah, and if we're talking about passing things on to the next generation,
passing the torch.
She's a boomer, isn't she? She's 60 years old.
I think she's 58.
Is she?
Yeah.
Well, whatever. It's not like you're passing it on to, what's the angry woman who's always about the environment? Greta Van Thunberg or Greta Thunberg, Greta Thunberg, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Greta, ain't nobody remembers her name anymore. I mean, it's not like it's some super young person. I mean, not that I'm not trying to insinuate you're old at 60, but it's not, some.
It's not a 40-year-old or even. And isn't that interesting that they're calling her the youth in the campaign?
59. We were both wrong.
Okay.
Right in the middle.
All right.
She will be 60 before Election Day. So she will be. Remember when Hillary ran the first time at 60 and the knock on her was nobody wants to see an old woman in the White House, and she was 60 years old. So now, but I guess with Kamala.
Well, she's young and vibrant and so youthful. Well, compared to Joe Biden, she actually is. But, you have to think about what she stands for. She doesn't just support open borders and amnesty. She also wants to force Americans to pay for health care for illegals. I mean, you're struggling to pay for your own. And this woman wants you to pay for others as well. And not even to mention the fact that she has been complicit in covering up Biden's obvious cognitive decline for years. When is she going to be held accountable for that?
I'm right, Casey. Kathleen says in the chat, and if it's on the internet, it has to be true, 64 is a boomer. She is a boomer. So you've gone from Trump is technically a boomer. So you went, look at our country, right? Okay, so Clinton was a boomer. W. Bush was a boomer. Obama's a boomer. Trump was a boomer. Biden was whatever before boomer was. I mean, literally. And now we're back to boomer. It's just the same. How many opportunities? No offense, I love the baby boomers. My parents are part of that generation. But my goodness, you people have screwed the country up long enough. It's probably time to give another generation a shot.
Turn over the reins.
I mean, what is that? Let's see.
They'll completely skip Gen X, by the way, and go straight to millennials.
Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump. This would be our fifth boomer we would be on now, Casey. I think we've at this point, I mean, that's 30 years, 32 years. It's starting time. But my point on all this is they act like she is some spring chicken that Biden's passing the country on to, and that is absolutely 100% not true. Now, Trump would be wise, and that campaign would be wise, to allow the talk about what the screw job that the Democrats put on the people, to leave that to people like us. Trump and his campaign would be very wise if their focus was on what a bad job Kamala Harris has done running this country, and say, look, here's all the things she was in charge of. Here's everybody knows she was in charge over there. Here's the failures, and keep your focus on that. I worry about them getting too sideways with how awful she is personally, or how bad the Democrats are and how they're behaving. I think the win for Trump is in staying focused on the issues in front of him.
Yeah, don't attack her personally. Stay on the policy. Well, Bill Maher, I don't know if he's red pilling or what he's doing these days, but he's changing his tune, and he's making a good point.
Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no fingers. In 3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. And like an electric car, your MAGA uncle can't explain why she fills him with homicidal rage. She just does. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Yeah, okay, so he starts out by saying that he wants to vote for someone who'll win. How about you vote for somebody who's going to be the best for the country?
Well, but to a Bill Maher, the winning is the thing. To the left, the winning is the thing. This is where you see the difference. Like, let's just take, for example, what's going to go on this radio station tomorrow. Mike Braun's going to come in here. Mike Braun's a Republican. He's the Republican nominee for governor. His lieutenant governor is one of my best friends and my pastor. Yet, I'm not committed to vote for Mike Braun. Why? Because I'm a genuine person who genuinely cares about the policies and what you're going to do for the state, rather than some sort of team concept where I'm required to support you no matter what garbage you throw in my face. Now, hopefully we'll be wowed with Mike Braun tomorrow, but if not, I'm not going to vote for Mike Braun. I'm not committed to do that, because I'm not about, and there's so many Republicans that are like us, which is they're not about team sport. The power doesn't matter if the power is not being used to do something beneficial for you and your life and your family and make this country better. But with the left, the winning is what matters, because their church, their religion is governmental control. That is their church and their religion. Governmental control, government lording over everything, and being able to ensure that you can suck the brains out of a defenseless fetus. That is the left. So for a Bill Maher, winning is what matters most.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Joe Biden posting a statement saying he is dropping out of the race. In the statement, he did not endorse Kamala Harris. That came on X. It's in the best interest of the party and the country to focus on finishing the term. No, you got told that it was the best interest of the party and the country. What did they offer? The pressure over the last couple weeks has been intense.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. And a thank you to our loyal customers for making our agency a national sales leader for the 7th straight year. We recently saved a family of 4 over $500 monthly when compared to their ACA plan. You know it's still Obamacare, right? We've recently saved a 61-year-old retiring couple over $600 when compared to their COBRA plan. Breaking news. We are now able to offer health insurance to employer groups of all sizes with 2 of the largest insurers in the Midwest. We'll be here when you need us. Quoting my favorite president, what the heck do you have to lose? We can help. As always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
Call Ron or Terry at 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868. Or go to rragency.org. That's rragency.org. A health plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Tony Katz here for Premier Arms in Brownsburg, Central Indiana's premier arms dealer. They have over 1,200 firearms in stock, the largest selection of used firearms in the area, from pre-Civil War to modern guns. Premier Arms has always put their customers ahead of their profits. They always have ammunition available when a customer buys a firearm. Everyone can find what they're looking for at Premier Arms in Brownsburg, 3754 South Green Street. Find them online at premierarms.com. Premierarms.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 Cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
So we were talking about this last hour during our voicemail segment, how Kamala Harris has a book and it's now back on top of the charts. It was released in 2018. But now it's coming out that Melania Trump has a memoir coming out in the fall. It's called Melania, and it's being billed by her office as a powerful and inspiring story of a woman who carved her own path.
Really? She
overcame adversity and defied personal excellence.
Oh, get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Now, which read do you think would be better? I'm more interested in Melania's story for sure.
Well, I think if Melania was going to tell the whole story, hers would be a lot more interesting. However, I highly doubt she's actually telling the whole story.
You don't think she'll get into all the...
What's the subtitle again to the Melania Trump book?
A powerful and inspiring story of a woman who carved her own path, overcame adversity, and defined personal excellence.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the diversity was you married Donald Trump. Or adversity, that was... You created that, lady. You knew exactly who you're getting into bed with.
Well, it's being reported, that she's never told her own story at length, and this is her chance.
Well, look, unless she's got some juicy detail about how she went all Tiger Woods' wife with a 6-iron upside Donald Trump's vehicle after she found out he had that affair with Stormy Daniels. Like, what? I mean, what is she gonna dish on that would be worth someone paying their... Look, she's an incredibly impressive person. She speaks the languages. She's very beautiful. She obviously carries herself with grace and dignity and all of those things, and is an incredibly, by all accounts, kind and nice and giving person, and would be lovely to have a dinner engagement with. But you're going to tell some guy that's out, that was born into poverty and has worked his entire life on a construction crew or, for NDOT building highways or whatever. You're going to tell him about your adversity that you've been facing, lady. You've been married to Donald Trump for 20 years and you're worth $1 gajillion and you're live a life of luxury. Then you're going to, tell us.
Not relating.
And before that, you spent many, many years jettisoning around the world as a high-end fashion model. And you really relate to that guy, and you tell him all about your adversity, lady.
Apparently, Melania will include personal stories and family photos that she has never shared with the public.
Okay, so do you read books? I don't read books.
Do you read books, Rob?
Yeah, I don't. Do you read books?
Occasionally,
Are you a book reader?
yes.
No, I'm very. I read all the time. Like I read all day.
You read the internet.
I read articles. I don't, and I'm very upfront about it that I don't have the patience to actually read through books. My attention span's like 20 minutes. If I can get through it in 20 minutes, great, boom. Read all the time, just not books. However, you're a person who would buy books. You buy people's books.
Sure.
Don't you feel a little ripped off if you buy what you think is a 300-page book and like 50 of them are photos?
Okay, well, it's interesting you mentioned that, or you already knew. Because
no, I have no idea what.
It's 304 pages and includes 48 pages of photos.
You're kidding. You're lying to me.
No, that's what it's saying. This is from her office, 304 pages and 48 pages of never-before-seen photographs. It's going to list for $40, and there are $40, and there will be signed editions going for $75.
$40 for just the book?
Yeah. Well, that's hardcover.
Yeah, but it's not like she's like donating all of it to some sort of the Wounded Warrior Project or something.
She's donating it to herself.
Who would pay $40 to read the story of Melania Trump?
You could go to the library and get it.
If you paid me $40, I would not read the story of Melania Trump.
How about you give me the money and I'll maybe get around to reading it?
Oh, my
I can't believe you
gosh.
nailed it. You knew exactly how long it was going to be.
Well, I was kind of like, I'm not trying to like take credit that I just, like sometimes I'll get things right where I actually thought them through. But in my head, I usually tend to think about how long these, stories are of like the actual political people. And I'm thinking, okay, well, she doesn't have near the stories that the political people do. And I thought somebody like her, when you said photos, it's like, okay, I have read enough of these books, or perused through enough of these books to know when it's a fashion or entertainment person. Now here's me with Gene Simmons, and here's me with John Candy, and usually it's like a whole bunch of photos to make the book seem bigger. Dang, that's pretty good, Casey.
You were right on. Okay, so Donald Trump, it's being reported by NBC that he is going to stop holding outdoor rallies.
That's good. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, they said that he's going to do maybe some smaller outdoor events, but not the large rally. And in those cases, the facilities will definitely have clearly marked entrances, and it will be fully controlled, and there won't be any issues.
Yeah, that's probably a smart thing. Look, he can get his message across to wherever city he goes to. They've got some basketball or hockey arena that he can have those rallies at, and he'll put 15 to 20,000 people there. And that'll tell the story, and people will know, and they'll be energetic and enthusiastic, and it'll make it just so much easier to protect him and the people there. And that's probably a really good move.
It will also make the ticket more sought after. If there won't be as many available, it'll be better commodity that you're trying to get your hands on.
Now, have you ever been to a Trump rally, Casey?
No, I haven't, and I've never interviewed him either, like you.
Well, I didn't want to. I wasn't even going to go there with that. But I think you should do that. I think you would. Really enjoy going to a Trump rally. You are an experienced person, and the Donald Trump rally. I will tell you this, especially after you've seen it once. It's sort of like any other act or show. Once you've seen it once, then you kind of seen it, and you're not as impressed the second time. But the Donald Trump rally is every bit as entertaining as any concert, Taylor Swift, the Rolling Stones, Springsteen, been to all of them. The first time you're at a Donald Trump rally, it is a sight to be seen. And I think you, as an experienced person, if he's having one in Ohio or Michigan, you should probably jettison out there.
Definitely.
And go
Well,
to
he
it.
was just in Grand Rapids, so I doubt he'll be back there.
Oh, he'll be back
real soon. Well, he was in, where was he last night? North Carolina? Yeah, I think he was in North Carolina last night.
As you know, 3 days ago, we officially defeated the worst president in the history of our country, crooked Joe Biden. He quit because he was losing so badly in the polls. He was down in every single poll and down by a lot, so he quit. But really, what happened was the leaders of the Democrat Party, in a very undemocratic move, the bosses, they said, either you get out or we're going to throw you out using the 25th Amendment. That's what happened. You know that. So, well, you know that. That's what happens. That's what happens. These are nasty people, the Democrats, so we better beat them or we're not going to have a country left. You're not going to have a country left. So now we have a new victim to defeat. Lion Kamala Harris. Lion. L-Y-I-N apostrophe. The most incompetent and far-left vice president in American history. By the way, they did a poll. She was rated the worst vice president in history. I've never seen that poll before, but that's the poll.
Never seen the poll.
Together we will win North Carolina in an epic landslide. We're way ahead in the poll.
Yeah. So did you see the picture of Donald Trump? I think he was on his airplane and
He's watching
in front of the TV with Joe Biden saying he's done.
Yeah,
and there's
total
the picture.
boss man.
Total troll. Loved it.
Here's my problem with Trump now. He seems to just be recycling nicknames.
Yeah,
And
you don't like Lion Kamala Harris?
Well, as somebody who puts a lot of effort into nicknames, and I was initially years ago inspired by Trump to get in the nickname game, and as somebody who gives everybody a different nickname, and they kind of become a universal loved part of our show. I'm a little disappointed that he's just kind of lying to me. Will always be Ted Cruz, old lying Ted. I mean, I'm a little disappointed. I feel like he
needs to workshop that a little bit.
She could have put more effort, cackling Kamala,
Yeah.
I'm not very impressed.
What did you think when you saw the picture when Kamala was here in town yesterday, Indianapolis, talking? She was that keynote speaker.
I didn't see any of it.
You didn't see the picture of Hogsett greeting her?
No. Why would I subject myself to that, Casey?
Well, because sometimes you can't help what you're fed.
Did Hogsett have a glass of scotch in his hand?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, what those two talk about cocktailing together.
Well, she's not afraid to throw a few shot skis back.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Close your eyes and picture it. The warm sun on your face. The sound of waves lapping against the shore. What if I told you that feeling of summer relaxation could be yours all year round? At Howard Bailey Financial, we specialize in retirement planning that lets you embrace that summer state of mind every day. Imagine knowing that your future is secure. With our expert advisors, we'll craft a personalized retirement plan tailored to your dreams. Whether it's traveling the world or pursuing your passions, we'll ensure that your retirement is as carefree and fulfilling as a relaxing summer afternoon. Embrace a summer state of mind and text SUMMER to 888-494-5004 to download our complimentary retirement toolkit and experience your retirement planning with confidence.
This endorsement was not provided by a client of Howard Bailey. This individual was compensated for this endorsement. For more information, visit howardbailey.com/TSY.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
They meet today. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will meet today with both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Netanyahu will hold talks with both Biden and Harris, but both will be separate meetings. Small riots in D.C. on Wednesday because of Netanyahu's visit. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
After protesters defaced statues and tore down American flags outside D.C.'s Union Station in protest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Capitol Hill, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says the behavior is, quote, not acceptable under any circumstance. A group of House Republicans led by New York's Brandon Williams replaced the American flags torn down by protesters. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Progressive presents 10 things on a food truck owner's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Stocking the fridge, prepping the stations, finding employees that get along well, finding employees that actually do their job. Looking at you, Gary. Balancing the books, balancing the flavors, having a fresh menu and fresh produce and fresh meat, but never a fresh mouth. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hey, this is Malia. We often get asked when is the best time to buy, and the answer is today, not tomorrow. With rising utility costs, rising product costs, and missed opportunity costs, which you could be saving with a high-efficiency system. Give us a call today to schedule your free in-depth estimate, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct, and there are about 10,000 things to love about Universal Windows Direct. Let's see how many I can get to in the next minute, and it starts right here. Universal Windows Direct backs up their work with a true lifetime warranty, and what that means is it is for as long as you own the home, plus 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. And get this, when you call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574, schedule your free in-home estimate today, and you're going to get
0% financing for 36 months. That's right. That's 3 years. Plus, on top of that, for every 2 windows you buy, you're going to get the next 2 free. Oh, yeah, and as if that wasn't good enough, on top of that, get $250 off your project if you tell them Rob Kendall from WIBC told me to call. Some restrictions apply. So to get all the information, whether it's the 0% financing for 36 months, buy 2, get 2 free, or the $250 off your project, call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574. Universal Windows Direct. Tell them Rob sent you.
A diagnosis of Alzheimer's can make it a struggle to communicate with loved ones. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I've got a tip which often helps that will be music to your ears. Don't go away.
At Cardon Senior Living Communities, you'll find our teams share a commitment to enhancing the lifestyle and well-being of the people we serve every day at every stage of life.
A growing number of studies show the power of music's role in those living with Alzheimer's. The next time a loved one seems to be tuned out, gently place headphones on them or simply turn on one of their favorite songs. Watch their eyes light up and don't be surprised if they sing along or start chatting about the tune. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access a library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Pierce Jewelers, Carmel's family-owned jewelry store, is dedicated to quality and fine craftsmanship. Let them help you celebrate that special moment in your life. Shop local, shop smart, shop Pierce Jewelers.
Zero Res, 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129 plus a 4th room free and $75 off duct cleaning. 388-5141, online at zeroresindy.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So Big Brother is on the way, but not the TV show, and definitely not the TV show that Hammer was talking about the other day. The Indiana Department of Transportation is going to begin the pilot camera speed limit enforcement, and it starts on August 14th, and this is where you could get ticketed if you're going 11 miles per hour or over the speed limit, and this is going to be in construction zones. They're starting it in Hancock County on Interstate 70, and then they plan to add other sites to the program over time.
Yeah, okay, so let's cut through the crap, because this is the exact thing the state pulled with the pilot preschool program, and then before they had any of the information necessary that they claimed they needed over how many ever years, then they just started expanding the thing. So within a couple years, this will be in almost every construction zone in the state of Indiana. It's a fait accompli. I love how our elected officials just lie to us. Like, just be honest. Like, we're doing this and we're rolling this out, and here's where we're starting, and we don't know exactly how long it'll take, but pilot program. No, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, and it's not even an unfair necessarily. It's certainly something worth having a conversation about, because obviously people work in the construction zones. Obviously, their safety is paramount. Whatever our opinion of the construction is in this city or this state, the people out there working are just doing their jobs, and they deserve to work in a safe environment. Now, they've set up these cameras. Initially, it's going to be a warning. Then it'll be an actual thing, but no fine, and then it'll be a fine. There are some concerns, and probably rightfully so, about how an electronic device will actually measure speed accurately. There are ways you can object to this.
Well, they're saying that the camera system is going to be calibrated to determine your speed.
So I see a lot of problems with this. I don't necessarily think the intent is wrong, because what is it? You got to be going 11 miles an hour over
the speed limit.
Now, when you object, you can't object if there's no workers present. Now, my question is, when we talk about construction zones, are we talking about these tight, narrow areas that are windy roads and they've created detours and there's clearly guys out there? Are we talking about long stretches of Interstate 70 or 74 where they've just got some barrels out there and there's no work? What is going to be the boundary on this? Because there's zero reason, and we've had law enforcement call us before, et cetera, where, hey, if you're going, 12 over, if you're doing 82 and a 70, not that they can't, but oftentimes on major high-speed interstates, they're going to let it go, right? Flow of traffic. Could they get you on that? that's where I'm going to need some clarification on. If it's these, hey, there's active construction, there's guys out there, there's cranes, there's bulldozers. Yeah, no problem with that whatsoever. But if it's some long stretch of interstate where some guy just throws some cones and barrels out there and there's no work being done, and we see those all the time where you're like,
right,
what construction is going on here?
They're prepping it for future work.
Are they going to be able to get you on that?
Yeah, it looks like they will be able to, and it does look like they're talking about those long stretches because they're starting it on Interstate 70.
Right. But again, I don't even have a problem with it if there's actual crap being done, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Fred's on the side of the highway, digging a ditch, got it. But if it's, Lloyd and Larry haven't been out there in 3 weeks and there's nothing going on, are they going to be able to get you? And it is a revenue. It'll start out as a deterrent and a way to try to protect people, but it will end up a money grab. We all know where this is going.
So they say that while it's in its pilot phase, they're not going to actually give fines to drivers, but once that's up, it's like the first time you get a slap on the wrist, and then the second violation could lead up to a $75 fine, and then the third time, a $150 penalty, and they'll just take a picture of your license plate. You'll be notified in the mail, and...
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I got no problem if a cop gets you going, whatever, in a construction zone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with that. But this electronic stuff, because look at how it is in Chicago. They're measuring your tires. It's like the electronic state. Anytime the electronic state gets bigger, it has me reasonably concerned.
Okay, so Notre Dame has announced that they've got their Shamrock Series uniforms. We were going to talk about that in the game. We're going to have to table that for tomorrow because I wanted to get to this. We've got Abdul who's going to be joining us.
Yes.
You're going to be talking about a mutual friend. And before we get to Abdul, I thought it would be a good time for this spoof ad. And if you're concerned about somebody's opinions and you think that they're not dealing with common sense, you might want to ask them to visit their doctor and get a prescription for a brain.
I used to believe everything I'd see on the news, but that's before I discovered a brain.
A brain is meant for everyday use. Those living with moderate to severe stupidity have seen immediate improvement in common sense with a brain.
I thought the government had my best interests at heart, and then a friend told me about a brain.
Talk to your doctor about what news sources you obey. A brain may also lower your desire to take life-altering advice from celebrities.
Getting lectured about my carbon footprint from people with 3 private jets used to make sense. But thanks to a brain, now I can think for myself every day. When my disregard for third-grade biology began to flare up, I knew it was time for a brain.
Do not try a brain if you're allergic to a brain. Common side effects may include accountability, discernment, homeschooling your kids, a better understanding of economics, awareness of the stupidity of socialism, and diarrhea.
For tethering yourself to reality, the only no-brainer is choosing a brain. Ask your doctor if a brain is right for you.
For more information, visit tryabrain.com.
I love how at the end, one of the side effects, and diarrhea.
Yeah, well done, because there's always diarrhea,
yeah,
right?
Always. All right, Abdul's joining us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Tonight on the Tony Kinnecast, we have no president of the United States. As Biden spent last night's address talking about winter apparel and pointing at curtains, Americans were abandoned. We'll talk about it. Tune in at 7 p.m. right here or the podcast anytime.
So I came to Advent because I was experiencing recurrent sinus infections. As a new mom, it was really kind of difficult.
Many of our patients complain of sinus infections. The headaches, fatigue, and nasal stuffiness have a profound effect on their lives.
I just felt like your sickness starts affecting your energy level and, the things that you really enjoy doing. That really was a breaking point for me.
So Molly came to Advent. Abnormally tight sinuses and swollen turbinates led to simple breathing triangle solutions that ended up taking about 20 minutes in office. And very soon thereafter, she was breathing freely.
I'm just in awe at the amount of air that that I'm able to breathe in and out each night, and I haven't had a sinus infection since the procedure.
I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. When you breathe well, you do live better.
Results may vary.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential.
But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Get a free reverse osmosis unit with the purchase of a 30,000 grain or larger water softener. C&J solves hard water problems. C&J, 317-733-SOFT.
Listen to Tony Katz this week for your chance to win 4 VIP tickets to see the Happy Together Tour featuring the Turtles and the Americans, the Association, Badfinger's Joey Mullen, the Vogues, and the Cowsills. August 14th at 7:30 at the Hoosier Lottery Free Stage at the Indiana State Fair.
Early in the morning, factory whistle blows, then rises from bed.
Well, he's back in the news, and we got to talk about him again. 93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. Rob Casey's here. Look who it is. He's an author. He's a broadcaster. He's an attorney. He's the owner and operator of IndyPolitics.org. The one and only Abdul Hakim Shabazz. Hello.
My friend, how's it going? I got to play lawyer today. That's why I'm kind of dressed up.
Well,
and then I'm down to French Lick for a lawyers conference thing for 2 days.
Speaking of lawyers and the law, now this
and gambling.
This happened. I think shortly after our show had ended on maybe Wednesday.
Yeah, we
or
recorded
Thursday.
Wednesday of last week.
Okay, so you had done your segment with us, and then we got news. We got rumors. We got little birdies that told us the FBI was searching the residence of Gabe Whitley.
Yes.
And we had both kind of corresponded with each other, and I said, that can't be right, is it? And then you said, well, let me find out, and Abdul, I'll let you take it from there.
So I'm hearing that Gabe Whitley's home is being investigated by a search by the FBI, so I called the FBI. I called Chris Bavender.
People always say, like, what does that mean, you called the FBI? Like, is there just a desk where some guy says, hello, FBI?
Actually, yes.
Oh, okay, very good.
Investigations, can I help you? And so I called Chris Bavender, who's the FBI spokesperson in the area. But she was out in Pennsylvania dealing with the public affairs on the Trump assassination attempt. She was like, Abdul, I can't help you, but my assistant Scott can. Just here's his number. Like, hey, great. So, hi, Scott. Hello, FBI, can I help you? Hi, Scott. It's Abdul. Hey, Abdul, what's up? Like, well, I heard you guys did a raid at the home of Gabe Whitley. Like, yeah, we did. What? Uh-huh. I felt like the guy who asked the totally hot girl out for prom.
Yeah.
Said yes, I had no idea.
Were you surprised he answered the question?
Yes, because normally, like Abdul, there's a paid investigation. We don't talk about it. That's what I was expecting to hear.
Right.
But when you said, yeah, we're there. Like,
because we had it from a pretty good source, and it was pretty detailed what was going on. So we were pretty sure, okay, this is happening. But
but something like this, you want to get some kind of confirmation on because of all the implications in it. So I was like, okay. So okay, they're searching Gabe's home. Like, hey, now what are they looking for?
Right.
Because at first I thought it was some of the violent stuff he advocated against us online because we are media. That's kind of First Amendment. And also with the Trump assassination, everybody's kind of on edge a little bit when people start.
Because there was supposedly a post from him related to Indy Star, right? Yeah. And that had happened shortly, allegedly, around the time of
yes, and maybe we should go down to Indy Star. And maybe they should hear loud noises. Like, okay, whatever. And so when I found that out, like, okay, but that wasn't it. They're like, you know what? Oh my God, it was the FEC,
right? Campaign
finance complaints, and then that's when I had my Forrest Gump moment.
Yeah,
because back in November of last year, when a report was put together for me about some of Gabe's questionable campaign finance contributions, a very detailed, very excellent, by the way, 100-page report with footnotes and a table of contents.
Very well done.
That's when you know when you got footnotes and table of contents. That's when you know it's real. So I sent it to Zach Myers, who's the U.S. attorney. Like, hey, Zach, it's Abdul. I wanted to say, I think Indiana may have some George Santos stuff going on here, so I want to shoot this over to you. And then Zach got back with me, and this story was in the Courier Press and Indy Star. Like, Abdul, thanks. I'm going to forward this over to the FBI.
Now, that was many, many months ago, though.
Yeah, that was like 6-7 months ago.
All right, so real quick, we have new listeners all the time. People saying Gabe Whitley, whatever. So very high level. Just remind everybody who Gabe Whitley is. Gabe Whitley ran for Congress.
Gabe Whitley ran for Congress in the 7th Congressional District, lost.
That's Marion County.
Marion County, lost to Jennifer Pace. In the process of running for Congress, he put together these questionable campaign finance reports.
Right.
Saying he raised money from all these people and raised he said he raised like $360,000 and change, which I'm like, but how can you do that if you're not incumbent? No one knows who you are. Well, it turns out you can do it easy when you make stuff up, and none of those people existed. And not only did the donors not exist, the dollar amounts were a lot of the dollar amounts were over the legal limit.
Yes, it was brazen beyond belief. It was ridiculous beyond belief.
When you the original lovely Miss Shabazz, my mother said, I hate it when you can't even do wrong right.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to have like a fake donor, because you can't necessarily confirm who the fake donor is. But the dollar amounts, when a limit in a federal primary is $3,300, it's like, this person gave me $5,000. That's automatically a red flag.
Yeah. So he pulls these shenanigans, which he had done in Evansville, allegedly, before he came up here when he tried to run for mayor of Evansville. Somehow, even though the media covered it, no law enforcement did anything about it. And instead of just, thanking his lucky stars and disappearing into the ether, he comes up here and decides he's going to pull basically the same shenanigans again. So as a part of that, there was a complaint filed with the Federal Election Commission, which then it came out in correspondence, which these correspondents are public. You can find them. They were already aware of him and looking at him before the formal complaint was filed. And then there was also a complaint filed with the Indiana Election Division about him. And then nothing happened. And then obviously, people are kind of going, this is so brazen what this guy did. Capitol Chronicle had a big, expose on him. We forgot in there was this made-up veterans group who he claimed endorsed him that no one can find. Indy Star did a big expose on that. And everybody's kind of going, what's going on with this guy? And you're kind of wondering, is nobody taking this serious? And then, the report from Indy Star confirming, yes, in fact, the residence has been raided, devices have been confiscated, and so I guess now we are taking it very serious.
Yes, and Gabe's defense was, he said that we were wrong. They weren't looking at campaign finance. They said they were looking at Rand Paul and some things. They're investigating Rand Paul. Like, well, why would they go to you to investigate Rand Paul? Seriously? Come on.
Okay, so that was last week. Then this week, what would you say? Yes, on State House Happenings,
as the Gabe turns.
Then an article comes out in the Courier Press, another big expose on Gabe, which you are one of the centerpieces of, kind of resetting everything, letting everybody know. One interesting new bit of information that came out is there is now new correspondence from the Federal Election Commission to Gabe Whitley related to money he claims to have given his campaign. And there's all sorts of rules and regulations with that they're obviously zeroing in on and trying to figure out how he would have done that. And you, as you said, now become kind of the center point of this piece because it came out that in addition to these complaints with the Federal Election Commission and the Indiana Election Division, that you had given this information before that to Zach Myers, the U.S. attorney.
Yes. I remember when I was looking through the donation and the reports, like, hey, I think a federal crime may have been committed here. Like, I can't say that for sure because it's not my area, especially of law, but I know whose it is. Hey, Zach, it's Abdul.
Right.
Indiana may have a George Santos thing going on here with these questionable campaign finance reports and contributions. I thought I'd send it to you. And so I sent it to him. Then the next day, Zach emailed me back like, hey, Abdul, got your report. Interesting. I'm going to forward this to the FBI. Next thing you know, 7 months later, I kind of feel like in a weird way, and you've seen the movie Forrest Gump, when Forrest Gump is into the Watergate Hotel.
That's right.
Excuse me, ma'am, I'm having trouble sleeping because those guys in the room that's got them lights on over there.
Yeah, well, and so, of course, Whitley always plays the victim. He's never produced the donors. He's never explained how, these campaign donations were made above the limits. He's never provided any evidence that any of these people, exist. And yet he's always the victim, and there's always someone else to blame. And now he's really turning. We read this tweet yesterday, but I just want to read part of this tweet that he put out. Now, it's my understanding this tweet has since been deleted, but the internet's forever, and we've already covered it. And he's referring to us, WIBC. They influence an election with their media, and that is illegal and is federal-level felony. The FEC and the national law enforcement needs to raid their houses and gun them down like the pigs they are. Now, the U in gun is dotted out, but everybody knows what he's trying to say. So we're now moving past allegations of,
campaign finance violations, to
right.
possible witness intimidation.
Right. Now you're threatening you. He posts your address. He posts a photo of your home. Now we're in a new ball game, and hopefully law enforcement will do something about that, because now we're reaching a new level of serious with how he's responding to this.
Yeah, because I let IMPD know, filed a police report and complaint with them, and actually the cops stopped by my house last night. Just to make sure. Hey, Abdul, we're just like, what are the cops doing here? Because there were two of them.
We're very important.
I'm like, so I kind of walked like, hey guys, what's going on? Like, hey Abdul, like, yeah, we're just, just make sure everything's okay. Yeah, everything's fine, good. We got my dog. So if somebody comes on the property or the lot, the dog's going to start barking.
Sure, right.
Barking right away. No, we're good. We appreciate it. And my wife was not happy at all.
Well, she's the last person I'd want to make mad.
Yeah, exactly.
If Gabe thinks you're bad, wait till he meets your wife.
The female's always more dangerous of the species.
Yeah, all right. Well, okay. So that's the latest. We want to get everybody up to date. And here's the thing, and I'll close with this. You've gotten nothing out of this. I've gotten nothing out of this. Anybody who has covered Gabe has gotten nothing out of this other than grief. And I'll just speak from my perspective, that we have covered this and talked about this because it's important that something is done about this. It is important that law enforcement looks into it, as they clearly are, and that because Gabe will continue to do these sort of things until he is stopped from doing them by law enforcement.
It's simple. You can't break campaign finance law. You can't, intimidate or encourage people to harm, possible witnesses. You can't do this stuff. And he's got away with it for so long. But to quote Jean-Luc Picard, the line is drawn here and now.
Yeah, there you go. All right, the one and only Abdul Keeps Shabazz. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
And that is going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Great job, Casey. Great job, Kevin. And most importantly, great job to you, the listener. Without you, there is no us. You're the most important part of the equation. Stick around. Tony Katz coming up next. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
He went to doctor after doctor looking for relief and always walked away discouraged. Surgery and drugs hadn't worked before, so why would he try them again? That's when Carmen made an appointment at QC Kinetics.
I'll tell you one thing. I got a spring in my step. The bounce is back in my step. My quality of life improving exponentially since I've been going to QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has treated over 35,000 patients like Carmen using their own healing components. Concentrate